fat, yo.
Well, I'm still getting you. That's muscle, bro.
Soft ass
Man,
muscle.
what's good?
Hating ass.
Fat
We
ass.
out here though.
What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Bishop Omega.
Yeah, it was good. It's your boy Kazi, 4 letters.
Intelligently Ratchet. We like the Black Beatles.
There you go.
Yo,
I'm trying to get hold on, I'm gonna get my there we go.
Yeah, I'm trying to get my stuff straight too. I'm trying to. I started using like my phone as the camera.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I got it, using it as like a webcam. I'm trying to get this stuff straight.
That's what I'm doing.
It's the Ratchet moment of Intelligently Ratchet, y'all.
Yeah,
that's all good. We in here.
We just jumping in with it.
This is how I look when you be unprepared.
It's all good. Yeah, what's good though? How everybody living, man?
Everybody living. I think I'm feeling rather fine. You know what I'm saying? Feeling fine. You know what I mean? Ready to get this whole situation over with. You know what I'm saying? Ready to get these streets of Durham painted. You know what I'm saying? We show motherfuckers how to protest, and we can't paint the streets. What's going on, Durham? Charlotte out here killing us. You see what Charlotte put out?
Yeah,
Charlotte killing us. I'm upset right now.
But Charlotte ain't gonna have. I'll say this though, all of the painting is cool, but after all the protesting is over, Charlotte gonna have the same environment of like livability that Durham is gonna have,
right?
Because Durham's community leaders and it's people that are involved, like this show, like everybody everybody in one of these squares, like the people in the community, like the mayor. Everybody in Durham is proactive. The conversations that are just now happening for the first time in a lot of cities and environments were already underway in Durham, and the energy that was already underway. You would have thought, by the way people make it out to be, that Durham would have burned to the fucking ground.
Right.
True or false? You would have thought that Durham would have been the city on fire. Oh, it's out of control. And instead, low amount of incidents. I mean, when it first happened, I mean, it was very reactionary. I think that to not have an incident is just not going to be realistic. But all things considered, what you would have thought would have happened in Durham didn't happen at all. And instead, it seemed like Katz is leading the way on like the energy, how to talk about it and what's effective and proactive, like what we can do to change shit after the protests. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
those
but I'm saying, we still want to be pretty doing it. I'm on the side looking good while being revolutionary. You know what I'm saying? Huey Newton he had his afro on pop, you know what I'm saying, was on deck. I want my streets to be painted too, you know what I'm saying? Because first of all, we showed y'all how to rock during the protests. We showed y'all how to briefly protest, shut shit down, and we should get the streets painted. You know what I'm saying? We need murals. You know what I'm saying? We need murals all on it. Look at that. Look at that right there. Come on, man. You out here doing it wrong. Where's
what
that?
City?
That's Charlotte.
That's Charlotte.
That's Charlotte. Yeah. And you seen Raleigh. Raleigh hit him with the end racism in front of VAE real big.
I think they was the first ones out, but man. I think that it's dope, man. I'm like you said, I'm bringing a little levity to it. You know what I'm saying? Like honestly, if we're gonna do it, I rather for us to be boots on the ground. You know what I'm saying? 100% than painting the streets or whatever. But if we could be boots on the ground and get some dope ass artwork too, because we know some dope ass artists in Durham.
Oh, for sure.
You know what I'm saying? Like
it would get done quick.
Yeah,
it would get done quick. It would get done overnight.
Especially Candy in the building. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Mr. Corals. You know what I'm saying? Them two, they should collab.
If you got
Artie Barksdale.
I was gonna say by the time you talk to Candace, Black Picasso, Artie Barksdale, Victor Knight, anybody that runs, that's in the VAE. That's right in Raleigh. That's Raleigh's joint. Yeah. Anybody that works with Mike Williams, in Black on Black project, any of those artists.
The Mike.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Dare.
So like, yeah, exactly. People like Dare, like, there's enough people to bring work to the table to make it happen. As a matter of fact, Chapel Hill has something that William Thomas is working on now that they commissioned him to do.
Okay.
And I'm working on a new T-shirt for the town that they reached out to me to help design, because they want to really be proactive with Black creatives. You know what I'm saying? Okay. So this is a I don't know if I don't want to get off schedule or whatever we're talking about right now, but just in the theme of what we're talking about, have y'all ever seen anything like this? And I mean, in the sense of like, just in its totality,
no,
the amount of frustration, anger, the amount of people coming together, the amount of like awareness that's being shared, the amount of like stories of, pain, suffering, racist things that people have gone through. It's a wild time right now, y'all. It's wild out here. You know what I'm saying?
It's great. What it is this right here. Worldwide is crazy. You know what I'm saying? It's world, because what I think what we spoke about, this was like maybe season 1, if I think season 2, when we were talking about like when people were riding, it was like, yo, this generation, man, you know what I'm saying? They're not taking that same shit. You know what I'm saying? They're not the 60s marchers. You know what I'm saying? They saw what happened. They said, yo, I'm not going to do that. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. What they do is this right here. Like they think it's almost like this. It's almost like if you took us right now, Intelligent Ratchet, and we could time travel back to slavery. You know how hard it would be to put us in chains or whatever, you know what I'm saying? And these kids right now like are really doing that at this point in time. They're like, yo, I think as a free man, you know what I'm saying? And they, you know what I mean? A free man can never think like a slave, and a slave can never think like a free man. And it's like this, they understand like verbatim. It's like, here it is. You know what I'm saying? They've grown up being more open-minded than even us. You know what I'm saying? It's like this, like in the crew, you know what I'm saying? You could have a black, white, Asian, gay dude and all that stuff, and they all hang in the crew, and no one thinks, you know what I'm saying, any way about it, right? You know what I'm saying? It's accepted, right? You know what I'm saying? It's accepted. Where we would have been like, you know what I'm saying, in some cases looking at the crew funny. And it's like now they're like, nah, we're not here for the bullshit. They're not here for any of the bullshit. You know what I'm saying? On any level. And I think that's what's popping off. You know what I'm saying? These 19, 20, 25-year-olds out here now are like, nah, we're not dealing with the bullshit y'all trying to feed us. And we're at a crazy time though, Kazi and P Domino and Just, we're at a crazy time because like we are now, you know what I'm saying, where we were. That was us not too long ago, right?
Right.
Now they're starting to push us out the way. They're taking where our spots was, right? And they're like, pretty soon we're going to be the 70-year-olds and with the open-minded 70-year-olds and shit like that. And there's going to be a change in that way because all these racist fucking, people are getting less and less. You know what I mean? Racist people are getting extinct because like people don't like to be stupid now. You know what I'm saying? You're just not gonna pull the wool over the shoulders. You know what I'm saying? People are not being willfully ignorant. People that are racist right now are being willfully ignorant. You know what I'm saying? It's just not a status quo of ignorance, and that's starting to die out. So that's my take on it. Just not taking that shit anymore. So that makes this a powder keg.
I feel like each generation will kind of pass the torch to the next, right? And like. Mm-hmm. Carry the baton and the torch as far as they can and make as much progress as they can before they hand it to the next generation. And you could go all the way back and see like what Frederick Douglass and, W.E.B. Du Bois and Booker T. Washington had to do in the era. And then that kind of they ran as far as they could, and then then the next set of brothers pick up the mantle,
Right.
and then then you have your Malcolm X and your Martin Luther King pick up the mantle, and they run it as far as they can. Then then it gets murky, right? Because what you understand is when you're talking about a racist structure, and you're talking about when you say, okay, well, what do you mean racist structure, racist society? Black leaders get assassinated. Anybody that emerges, that has emerged in our history as somebody that is in a leadership role, that's been a threat to our establishment. So Huey Newton dead, Fred Hampton dead, Malcolm X dead, Martin Luther King dead. Like anybody that's been a leader to the movement has been assassinated. So it's deterred people from becoming, how can I say, like in that role, in that position.
Right.
Because it's like they always say the person that starts the revolution never lives to see it, completed anyway, right? And that's what we continually see. So I think that up until this point, that has deterred a lot of young people from saying, I'm going to evolve. I'm going to do it the way that the old heads did it. Marching, nonviolent, kind of appealing to my oppressors,
sense of consciousness.
Yeah, please. You see how what you're doing to us? It's just so terrible. This can't continue. And I think this generation said, nah. I use my son for example. He's 9. He's seen a black president. He's seen two things I didn't see till I was like 38, 40 years old. He's seen a black president.
Mm-hmm.
He's seen a black superhero movie. You know what I'm saying? Like where he's the main character that doesn't die in the first 5 minutes. Like, I know that doesn't seem significant, but we're talking about something I thought that I would never see.
Right.
Ever. Right? And he's seen both of those things, and he's 9. So yeah, ain't no stepping and fetching with this set of people right here.
With these black children. Not with these black children right now. Oh no. Not with these white children. Because what it is this right here, they grew up with parents that loved hip hop. You know what I'm saying? They grew up they grew up with parents like your silhouettes. You know what I'm saying? Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know what I'm saying? We could go on and on about some dope ass, you know what I mean, jacks and stuff like that. Where race relations are already built into us.
You're right, because this is an era I'll just say this. If you were to go to a Dead Prez show, a KRS-One show, a Public Enemy show, you will be one of the few black people there. There will be so many white people there.
Right.
It's it's why you wouldn't wrap your mind around that until you step into it, because they're attracted to the truth and wokeness, those that vibrate on that frequency, right? Mm-hmm. So you got that whole crowd out there in the streets with us that parents or themselves listen to KRS, Rage Against the Machine, Public Enemy, Talib, people that were putting this, that got this in their Immortal Technique. Yeah, Wu-Tang and Rage were on tour together. So the kids that I was hanging with were putting me up on the fact I listened to. I was like, the same cats that joined forces are the ones that wear hoods and horses. Like, that's in Rage Against the Machine music. You know what I mean? And so different side of the coin, but there is a level of like awareness. And with this social media era, the way to collectivize, you can't just get in your hood and go burn a cross in Sean King's front yard and have that shut down the movement.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like there's too many heads to it. There's so many. You got Tamika Mallory, you got Lee Merritt, you got Sean King, you got what Ben Crump is doing for the families and doing in the courtroom. Right. You got all of these different personalities. Angela Rye, you got Mark Lamont Hill, you got our show. You got so many people within Durham, Kaisha, Kai Jennings, you got Desan, you got Omasadi, you got so many people that are Angel, you got so many people that are out here handling their business. And
because you burn something in my yard. If you burn something in my yard, best believe I'm coming to burn your trailer down. I'm not that type of dude. It's gonna be
to that extent, and exactly, and so exactly what you're saying. And when we talk about why Durham was able to have peaceful protests and show the best of itself, Because if you fuck up in Durham, Durham's gonna handle it.
Yeah.
Right? Durham will cancel you. Durham will make sure that, like, if you do something racist, that Durham will boycott that establishment.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
There is that level of like community connectedness where like Durham polices itself. If there was a racist city board member, or even when the Hispanic kid, the Latino kid that died in the handcuffs, that was a big stink, right? Like that went on for a minute until somebody gave either some transparency or there was a resolution. But I just see that Durham is going to hold, there's very much a community level of what cats in Durham hold accountable on, like I said, on the community level. And we coming up on this vote and we talking about what we can do in your community to change some shit. I don't know if everybody's is up for election on this this cycle, this cycle we're about to go into. But if you look at it this way, right? In the case of Ahmaud Arbery, in the case of George Floyd, you have cops that obviously are answering into like a chief of police, or like in places like Durham where you have sheriff, where you elect your sheriff, right? Mm-hmm. Well, the dude that shot Ahmaud Arbery, his dad used to be a sheriff or whatever. He was an officer. His license to practice law in that way was expired, right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
The district attorney covers this case. The district attorney, swept this under the rug. Same in Minneapolis. The district attorney sweeps this under the rug. These are people you elect. Any district attorney you would catch or that you would know that's going to like, they letting you know what they think about you. So if you could literally, like we say, elect your district attorney, elect your sheriff, and elect your mayor, your change in your radius, your change in your city and your county would be so profound.
Right.
Donald Trump could be a dick and you could still affect change where you are. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely. It's about that. It's like, you know what I'm saying? It's kind of the thing is like, it doesn't matter what they do, because some stuff that they do they can't do on a national level. You know what I'm saying? It'd just be too far-fetched, right? But you know what I mean? And that's the reason why you get these local officials in these smaller towns and everything like that, where shit like this happens. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. Not every county in North Carolina is Durham, yo. You know what I'm saying? A lot of these counties in Durham is closer to shoot a jogging nigga Georgia. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? It's very close to those. So it's like this. We have to be the gleaming example, like Raleigh, Durham, Greensboro. You know what I'm saying? We got to be the gleaming example. So what that does, that bleeds out into our surrounding counties. Because if you show that strong example, like if there's 5 major hubs of, you know what I mean, of awareness, then it has no choice but to bleed out and go back to those communities, and it changes those smaller communities. So,
and right on, Bishop. And I think with us leading the narrative, when you have Black voices like this talking, then we control the narrative. It's not the narrative that's portrayed or painted on us. I think that's been the problem in the past, and why it's so important to have like local and community people speaking on behalf of shit. Because the narrative of the Black male, it's literally like reading it off the police scanner. Suspect, Black male, age 21, height 6 feet tall, where like the description itself becomes like the prototype for what you think of like criminal assailant.
Yeah.
And I'm down for holding, if we're holding shit accountable, I'm down for holding all sorts of shit accountable. I'm sick, because I'm gonna tell you, when I was growing up, and like I said, cats that know I grew up early DC area, so all our news was DC news and shit. Every night, film at 11, you weren't gonna see black male, black male, black male, black male, black male, black male. Like, I'm like, damn, they don't show ABC 11 around here, WREL. I'm about to start holding their ass accountable, bro. They don't show none of the meth heads. They don't show none of these heroin addicts. They don't show none of these motherfuckers. All they gonna show you is blackmail, assailant. I'm tired of it, and I'm finna start holding their ass accountable because it's part of what we bleeding into everybody that's picking up on. You know what I'm saying? It's like literally
that's
in
been
your
a narrative
subconscious,
forever,
like planting it in your subconscious.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. That's been a narrative forever. That's been a narrative forever. Since they start using TV, you know what I'm saying? Since TV was popular, they've always put us as the dangerous person. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like I said, so it's not, you know what I'm saying? It's like this. Can I blame someone from the town of Carson Wentz, you know what I'm saying, which is 100% white, and they're looking at these images of black folks on TV. And then what you do is this right here. They're teaching the doctrine because they might not necessarily hate black people, but they have strong mistrust of us. We don't know. It has to be the Negroes. You know what I'm saying? And you know, so it's one of those situations where yes, it's media, and you know what I'm saying. Media has to be held accountable because they're not showing many positive black features. It's just like it's like everything is stereotypical. You know what I mean? Like if you look at TV, like in the 70s and 80s, all we were pimps and drug dealers.
Right. You gotta think though. The main issue with what you're saying is just the simple fact that it boils down to economics. We don't own any media sources, no major media sources. If you look at Viacom, all these other different television outlets who own, or rather the parent companies that own these outlets, how many black owned, and I don't mean minority, black owned media sources, news sources are there? I mean, you can't control ultimately. That's what we wrestle with all the time. That's why shows like this are important. And you know, and all the other shows that are going to speak directly to the people, because let's face it, there's no accountability. There's no real reason for them to change what they do. But they're going to keep on running these same as they've been running because.
But I think what happens going forward, like going here forward with this movement and everything like that, was what happens is it's just like this. Like I think one of the CEOs for one of the companies stepped down or whatever to give the spot up to allow a minority.
Serena's husband.
Right. That was great. I mean, he made $1 billion. He could retire anyway. It's like, all right, but I see what you're doing. Who else did it? I think Amazon or somebody else. I forgot the company. I just saw it on the news today that they're stepping in the direction to hire more black employees in light of what's going on, because the eyes are starting to open up a little bit more, right? And it's like this. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And what people are understanding that it is a systemic racism problem that you might not necessarily knew you were being a part of. You're just living your life, and then boom. So sometimes it's one of those situations where you see the problem and now you can say, okay, let me go in and affect the change because I have the ability to. You know what I'm saying? Whether it is stepping down, which is a great thing to do. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to you for doing that. But it's just like, yeah, man, it's got to be more than affirmative action. It's about really looking into how your bias is against black people. You know what I'm saying? It's about the you know what I'm saying, trying to almost unlearning everything that America has taught you. It's not your parents. It's not, you know what I'm saying, you not necessarily have bigoted parents. It's about the images and stuff that racism has perpetuated. Again, even in the healthcare system, you know what I'm saying? People believe black people don't feel the amount of pain that we do feel, or it's all in our heads. Or, you know what I'm saying? Even my wife went through this. You know what I'm saying? My wife almost died having the twins. You know what I'm saying? Because they simply did not listen to what she was saying. Like, yo, I can't, we got to have a C-section. Well, listen, I can't lay all the way back because one of the babies is, when I leaned back, one of the babies was on one of her main arteries that was cutting off blood flow to her brain. Bam. You know what I'm saying? I almost lost my wife and both of my children on the delivery day. You know what I'm saying? And thank God she pulled through it. You know what I'm saying? But when you look at her white counterparts, in some cases they're over medicated. They're overly medicated. Like, no, I'm fine. Now we're still gonna get this. We're still gonna give you this anesthesia or whatever. No, I'm good. We'll still give it to them. Right. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or, you know what I'm saying, for the pain that they need. So it's like this. It's all about the bias, and all that comes is from the racial bias and preconceived notions that you were taught about how Black people live.
You know what? Hold on. Let me jump in real quick because we got some great comments here in the comment section. Keisha McDougal, she brought up an interesting point. She said, not just employees, going back to what we were saying earlier, a lot of companies have diverse employee base, but not their senior management and their VP roles. So like, it's cool that a lot of Black people work in Amazon warehouse, but how many people are like in the boardroom making decisions?
That's what they're trying to change now. I think that's what they're trying to change at this point. You know what I'm saying?
And also, I see Danita King says a lot of statements and gesturing are hollow right now. I want to see systemic changes. So I actually, she brought up something that I wanted to say in the conversation as well, is that there's a lot of people who are doing things that they think are cool, and hey, I'm representing you. I just uploaded a picture. Check it out in the chat. So like Nancy Pelosi, this picture to me does not make me believe you. Like, cause you kneeling down with kente cloth, I'm supposed to be, oh man, she's for the people now. Yes, Lord. No, like, that's to me, and not necessarily just her, but I'm using her as an example. But it's a lot of gesturing. It's a lot of, I cut on Amazon, I see Black Lives Matter. I cut on Netflix, I see Black Lives Matter. Like, just because you say that out loud doesn't mean anything to me. Like, what is your, when I chase the money, when I look into your company's portfolio and I look at, again, we're just harping on what we're saying on the workforce, is it actually equal? Are there Black people making decisions in your company? Or are you just saying this so you can get out the way of the tidal wave and not get boycotted in the meantime where everybody's on it?
Facts.
That's what I feel like is happening.
Facts. I think, okay. All right.
Garbage. So that's right. Garbage.
My 2 cents, right? What I think we got going on right now. And like I said, I think you got a couple of different crowds. Like I was alluding to why Durham hasn't had the same problems that like a Raleigh has had is because these conversations were already underway. Nobody had, Steve Shule didn't have to go run and act like he cared. You know, the people in Durham didn't have to go run and do that because all those discussions and reform and things were already going on in Bull City, you know, about how the city was going to be rebuilt because all this new money and awareness about Durham being this great place and how it was going to be rebuilt. And Black people were like, wait a minute, we're being left out of that conversation. We need to be included in that conversation. Now we're looking at a conversation about how America needs to be rebuilt, right? When you talk about doing too much, like you said, like posturing, posing, gesturing, like to me. But this is the thing: when you're surrounded by your Black counterparts, somebody thought that was a good idea. If I saw her and Chuck doing that, and there wasn't any other African Americans in the room, I'd be like, come on now, who thought that was a good idea? But there's plenty of Black people over there doing that shit. Somebody thought it was a good idea. Somebody thought that it was that thing that was gonna show that extra. Like, only thing they didn't fucking do was sing, lift every voice and sing and jump a fucking broom. Like, that's the only
but what I was saying
that didn't happen in Congress that day. You know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying, but we dealing with what I'm saying is this right here. So I'm gonna play the other side of it.
Okay.
Well, can I finish my thought before you do that? Because I'm gonna totally forget what the fuck I thought about if you go to the other side. Okay. So when you have all these companies writing checks for 100 million, 200 million, like, yo, so-and-so wrote $100 million check to Black Lives Matter. So-and-so wrote a $200 million check to the NAACP. I don't think that that's the right answer to solution, because where the fuck is that money going? Who's overseeing that money? Now Black Lives Matter is sitting on 600 mil. Now NAACP sitting on 600 mil. And everybody in the hood still broke, been in the house for the last 3 months and ain't got a stimulus check since April. How does that 600 million help them? Who's overseeing all this bread? Like, we so quick to just want to throw money at it to keep the mob from pulling up to our front porch with the torches and the pitchforks, but the shit still got to be allocated. There's still got to be a plan. I personally think that this week, part of the messaging got splintered.
Mm-hmm.
It became about defunding the police, when I think that right now we should keep our focus a little bit singularly on one thing at a time, of justice and accountability. This is just my personal stance. I ain't afraid to say it. I think that we should focus on accountability and justice and convictions right now, because when you start splintering the conversation and it turns into defund the police, which I've done my research to fully understand what that means, but you just scared the fuck out of not only a lot of white people, you scared the hell out of a lot of black people with that shit. Mm-hmm. And this myth that all black people think exactly the same, it's just not true.
Right.
And when you talking about Black Lives Mattering, a lot, you have a large tendency that's with that. When you start talking about accountability and convictions, you have a large conviction amount of people that are with that. Now, when you get to talking about defunding the police, even though I know what you mean, and you mean well when you're talking about reallocation of funds for healthcare, all the disparities that COVID and being in quarantine have showed us already existed, amplified times 10. But when you get to talk about defunding the police, because this is what happened. If you were one of those dickheads that wanted to make everything about the riots and the looting in the last week or two, as like you wanted to make that worse than what you saw happen to George Floyd or the other 52 million hashtags of black men and women that have been killed since then. If you wanted to make this about the rioting and the moral degradation of black men and women, your narrative expired like 3 or 4 days ago.
Right.
Because the looting and the rioting stopped. So when you then change the narrative from convictions and accountability to we jump right into defunding the police, you just gave all those idiots a gun to reload. They want to scare. Trump is about that fear factor. White people, you were for Black Lives Matter, but now they want to get rid of the police. Oh shit, you right, Trump. Let me walk my ass back over here.
Right.
I was cool with the convictions, but now we talking about getting rid of the police. I'm scared. I need somebody. I love, I'm here for Black Lives Matter, blah, 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 but I ain't necessarily here for defunding the police. You have plenty of black people that feel exact same fucking way about that. And so I feel like the message, even like I said, if you read into defunding, I wish they'd called it something else. I really do, because I think it does it a disservice to just, because when you first initially hear it,
the reallocation of funds is saying that we're not gonna put a bazooka, instead of spending that $5,000 on the bazookas, we're gonna take that and put that into training, better training for officers, better health care, better salaries and everything like that. We're not gonna militarize our police. Right. And you know what I'm saying?
Thank you. And I love the conversation. I love the mentality behind it. But I just think at this moment, it's like the door has been shut for like 400 years and it just opened. And it's like, we're trying to cram everything that we need through the door at the same fucking time. And I just think we just need to do it one thing at a time. Can we lock cops up? Can we keep them accountable? Can we, get a conviction? We've got 3 super violent idiot cases in front of us currently.
Right.
Ahmaud, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd. Those are 3 egregious cases that we need convictions. This could set the standard. All that reform, nothing will set reform harder than locking these cats up.
Exactly.
Locking these cats up is the biggest reform that our nation could have right now. That will send the message, because it ain't every cop. They right. But the bad cops are getting away with murder. They're not being held accountable. They have police unions that defend them, the bad apples, not the good ones that make mistakes and need representation. And then there's a code of silence. And then the black victim is criminalized from beyond the grave. We're talking about 3 cases with no legal documentation. The DA swept the Ahmaud Arbery shit under the rug.
Right.
I just saw the Louisville Police Department reports about Breonna Taylor, 4 blank pages.
Yep.
The cops that shot up that apartment left, didn't even call first responders. The boyfriend had to call 911. And then you got the Minneapolis case where if you watch it all the way to the end, no EMTs ever show up. The ambulance shows up with 2 more sheriffs.
Exactly.
It's like, so you're talking about dirty, corrupt shit. Dirty, corrupt shit. Like that. How do we defend ourselves from that when you're killed? The system that's supposed to protect you is covering it, and then the media is vilifying you as the criminal that you've always been exposed. You know, the stereotype has been perpetuated your entire life. It's a lot.
Yep.
It's a lot, yo. It's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. So I get that I just saw that defund the police was the bullet that like cats that was on that riot shit reloaded their gun with. And it's another way to distract and break the focus, because what it means at the core, it's not a bad argument. And if you look at Camden, if you look at the Camden Police Department, if you look at what's being done in Minneapolis right now, it's examples in Newark, New Jersey, how they reformed their police department in 2012.
Right.
It's all pillars of what we're talking about when we're talking about defunding the police. But the scary and everybody is going to say, like this, "Oh shit, they're talking about getting rid of the cops."
Right. What I want to, and that's what I want to go back on that. What I want to revisit that, because again, not everybody is as smart as us. You feel what I'm saying? Not everybody is, you know what I mean? Because when you hear defunding police and everything like that, you don't look into it. You don't look at the other parts about it. Then that's the linchpin. You look at that and you like, it's kind of like the big headline. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. They don't look at the fine print. And it's kind of the same thing, but on the other side, let's talk about this. On the other side, to make changes with people that are, like I said, are not smart. Because we're pretending that people that everybody that's down with the Black Lives Matter movement that is starting to be socially awoken about this are smart too. No, it's about this. There are a lot of
shouts out to Max too, man. Shouts out
what
to
up, Max?
In the comment. We definitely get with you, man, for sure. Okay, go ahead, Bishop. Yeah.
Okay, so you know what I'm saying, but at the end of the day, it's like this. They're not that smart either, so they need these broad expressions to be able to grasp it. You know what I'm saying?
I'm gonna be real. Nah, Bishop.
No.
And not you. It's not your opinion. I'm saying nah to. It's not your opinion. I'm saying nah to. It's this what it is to be a Democrat. I'm starting to be like, nah, bro. It don't feel good. It's starting to not feel good because I keep seeing like gestures like those. Like, what the fuck are y'all doing? Why y'all got to put kente cloth? Oh, I'm waiting for Nancy Pelosi to walk up to the podium with a Kaepernick jersey.
But what I'm saying is this right here. But listen here. Listen what I'm saying.
Doing too much.
Hold on. Here it is, though, Kazi. But look at this. But you got to look at the other side of it. Look at Nancy Pelosi and a kente cloth. Now I'm saying this right here. We're talking about our white counterpart in North Dakota. No zero black people in North Dakota, right?
Right.
They see this image. You know what I'm saying? They trust Nancy Pelosi because it's Democrats in North Dakota, but they don't understand. They're ignorant to the fact of black people's plight. You know what I'm saying? They want to know what the hell. They want to know. Yes, it is. It's fucking stupid.
It's the equivalent of Trump holding that Bible all goofy. It is.
But
it's the equivalent of Trump holding that Bible all goofy. Because when I saw that, no, this is what I'm saying. Because when I saw that, I said, yeah, he holding a Bible, but that nigga don't know nothing about holding no Bible. He ain't no Christian. He ain't never read it. I can tell by the way he's holding it. The way when I see all of them on just out the blue rocking kente cloth, don't get me wrong. I know some white people that you'll see on a random Thursday at Whole Foods wearing a dashiki. Right. You might see that, and I'll be like, but that's what they on.
Right. But then
you ain't gonna see Nancy Pelosi wearing no kente cloth
exactly
during Black History Month.
No, what I'm saying, Kazi, but I'm saying it's like this. It's dumb people on both sides because just like Donald Trump holding up the Bible did whatever it did for his supporters, that shit, like what I'm saying, we're talking about the stupid of the stupid. We got to think what I'm saying. It's like this. We're talking about the stupid people that need those type of gestures to gravitate toward it. Because just like, because if you can say, yo, Trump holding up the Bible brought him 50,000 more supporters, right?
I don't think it did, though. I don't think it did. I've seen most evangelicals finally rebuking this kid because you don't see anybody like, you just don't do that. Because even to get to the church, what did he have to do, Bishop, to get to the church?
Well, yeah, he had
the tear gas and rubber bullet people.
Straight Hunger Games that shit. Yes, and
it's like, and the Lord on his way to the temple tear gassed his subjects.
But it's some people, we have to agree on this point. Just like we have both extremes. We have people on the right, but we have some dumbass people that gesture right there maybe push them in the right direction. We have to agree on that. Even though it's dumb as shit, can take off on white 70-year-olds, made other white 70-year-olds like, oh shit, that's the cool thing to do.
I appreciate the gesture.
Right. That's what I'm saying.
But we don't, the posing at this point, that I don't need that. I don't need nobody sing Left Every Voice Can Sing. I don't need nobody to, you know what I'm saying? Like, what I need is some changes. Like, I'm not mad at that. I'm not mad at that. But this in this moment, it seems it's posing. If you'd have did that when Kaepernick first got kicked out the league, I'd have felt you.
Right.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? It's all about like the timing of the moment right now. And Democrats got to be careful because they rub people like me because I so much of what that platform represents is closer to me than what a Republican represents. Don't get me wrong.
Right.
But the more I go back into the history and I understand that Republicans and Democrats switch sides, the more like I've watched them tie Bernie Sanders shoestrings together for 2 presidential cycles now, put the banana in his tailpipe. He would be the perfect candidate for this moment.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just keep seeing things, you know, and that rub me. And I'm just like, yo, that's a little extra. Even the police reform bill that they proposed, it speaks more to a federal level than it does a local level. Like the changes and the things that are in there.
Right.
It's banning chokeholds. Okay.
Right.
National Police Registry. Okay. How's that keeping my black ass from getting killed?
Well, I think, you know,
how's that keeping me from getting pulled over and getting shot? Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? I think it's still that disconnect. You got a lot of Martin Luther King era civil rights activists, and I think that's what we got a lot of in Senate and Congress, is a lot of people from the sit-in, the Woolworth era. I'm not mad at that. You know what I'm saying? But these young kids sparked this one. Mm-hmm. The old heads didn't spark this debate. They didn't. They sat around and waited on change. Young people got in the street and set some shit on fire. I'm not necessarily saying that, yo, that's the perfect way or whatever. But that's, yo, we had a civil war over this. Mm. You know what I'm saying? We had a whole establishment of slavery over this, and to think that like 2 weeks of protesting in the street, it's going to be resolved. Nah, the real work's about to start.
Definitely not. Definitely not. It's definitely not over. You about to say something, Jess?
Yeah, I mean, just more so when we're talking about, you know, how's it going to stop them from getting pulled over and, you know, getting shot, stuff like that. I think the main thing is starting to, when they start doing the accountability and putting things in place, it's going to start holding officers accountable. And I know I had put it in the chat before. I'm like, I think, you know, they need to start having officers take lie detector tests, you know, on a semi-annual or annual basis. And a lot of those questions need to start asking about, you know, we'll judge them on their being of good moral character, you know, whether they have racial biases or not. And if they fail those tests, they need to go. Mm-hmm. So you're weeding out all the people that don't have that good moral character, that are displaying racial biases. So then those judgments won't get placed against them. You know, you can start weeding them out. You start hiring those people that are of good moral character, that don't show racial biases, and then they'll start acting accordingly.
Yeah.
So if something was to happen, it'd be like, you can look at it more like, the force is now leaning more this way. Maybe if something was more inclined to happen. But then on the flip side, you also want to see a decrease in other activity of, you know, a high number of people getting pulled over, or, you know, sudden claims of, you know, assault to an officer, or, you know what I'm saying? These random stop and frisk and everything like that. So,
but
you know,
I got a question.
It's on both sides.
I got a question on this right here because you know what I'm saying the software is out there. It's almost like, you know what I'm saying, if you ever worked into a call center or anything like that, then you know what I'm saying, if someone like, you know, you get pulled over, say you get pulled over for a tail light, right? You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people, it's like people are having multiple interactions with police all the time.
Right.
And it's like this. So it's like when you, and that's a certain anxiety, because I don't know how many times you have fit the description of a suspect. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. Because I've you know what I'm saying, in my life, I fit the description, I would say 7 times in my life. Fit the description of someone that did something that I ain't had nothing to do with. Right?
I mean, you fit the description of every Muslim right now.
Every Muslim, you know what I'm saying, and Puerto Rican and Dominican out there. But listen, you know what I'm saying? So anytime somebody light skinned that sure robbed somebody, it's Bishop Omega get you know what I mean, pulled. But I think what they should do is this right here, because you have to look at my license and everything like that. Let me see your ID. Once you base that program in, you know what I'm saying? It's like this. Bam. Okay, he was stopped here on this date. You know what I'm saying? Because some people are, you know what I'm saying, are having that happen 7 times a month. You know what I'm saying?
I got.
So
well, see, there's no tracker for that. I mean,
but that's something right.
Every state has a different database.
That's what it should be. So when you stop me, I give you my name. You should be able to pull it up in a database that says, okay, here is Bishop Omega. Bishop Omega got stopped 3 times last month for this tail light. You know what I'm saying? We gave this guy 3 warnings. It's time to write him a ticket for this tail light. So now, because that way, you as an officer, you could say, I stopped you for your tail light, and I showed when I ran your license plate, I see 3 other officers give you a warning. It's time to give you your ticket. What I'm saying, it works.
So then, if an officer were actually going to actually do a report, you know what I'm saying, then you would actually be in that database. Like, okay, I pulled him over, you know, this for whatever, driving one car, you know, this date and time. So if they're actually going through and actually then submitting a report, informational report, you know what I'm saying, for that, in the case of what you're talking about, you know, that'd be one thing. But most of them, they're not going to take the time to do that. But now, what I think they should do, if that's the case, every agency uses a different reporting system. Right. Like Greenville's reporting system is going to be different than Salisbury's. Durham is going to be different from Raleigh. Everyone, it's all technology. It all depends on contracts or whatever. And then they all tie it into what is called the NCIC, National Crime Information Center, and also your local DMV. So now, if they're going to do that, they need to make sure that the DMV is going to keep record of it, as well as whatever if they're going to come up with a universal reporting system, then they need to have it. You know what I'm saying? But it's just that everyone is going to be different.
But it is like this,
and that's where the problem is. And that's where the problem is.
It's simple shit because the technology exists for that. So you know what I'm saying? We
got I agree. That's what I'm saying.
We got a whole fucking cloud. We got a whole fucking cloud. Put it in the cloud.
I don't say that it doesn't exist. What I'm saying is, every police agency uses a different set of technology. No one uses the standard one. You know what I'm saying? Durham is going to use a different reporting system than Raleigh. Raleigh is going to use a different reporting system from Fayetteville. You know what I'm saying? Like, they don't, a lot of times their joints don't intermingle unless it comes into you're adding in the criminal history. And then you could pull up the national and the local criminal history. But as opposed to just their reporting system of how many times they did traffic stops, or, you know,
they don't keep track of that, right?
They keep track of it, but it's on an agency level.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like,
we can't
keep track of.
Nothing that's all encompassing that anyone can look at
and say, this is what it is.
No.
Because
before I make a hire.
Right. So whether it was anything, so Durham can't even go into Raleigh's system and say, oh, let's see how many times this person got pulled over or whatever. But since the criminal history is a national thing, they can say, oh, let's look into see how many times this person has been arrested, or if they have any warrants, local or national. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
The regular reports is what Bishop is talking about. They don't have that in place.
Right. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. I'm looking for this right here to prevent the harassment. You know what I'm saying? Because what it is this right here. Because when you're held accountable, you know what I'm saying, for every time this person gets stopped, right? this, you know what I'm saying? If you get stopped, you know what I'm saying? Like K Slack had I don't remember he told the story. He was in the Compton and he got stopped 6 times in one night. And he starts spazzing out because he's from North Carolina. He's from Durham or whatever he does. Like, yo, man, what the hell, y'all? I just got stopped another 5 times. And you know what the officer said? Hey, man, you smell weed in this car? Yeah, I think I smell weed in this car. You think if I looked in this car, I found a little bit of cocaine? I think you will find a little cocaine in this car. And this is how they're talking. Right? You know what I'm saying? They're talking, you know what I'm saying? And I'm saying this verbatim. I know Slack is not going to, dudes are going to say, I ain't lie to me. He's like, yeah, he's like, so should we smell this weed or should should you have a good night, sir? I think I'll have a good night. You know what I'm saying? You see that. So what I'm saying, when you're on the database and you know what I mean, and of course, like I said, I'm not saying people are human. So I'm saying as a good cop, you're saying, oh, this vehicle looks like this description of the, you know what I'm saying, the vehicle that was in a robbery. But if I just got stopped, if I got stopped and you already put that in the database, well, we stopped this person when you pull up the just a little blurb. Vehicle has always been stopped, cleared, whatever. So when they get behind you, all right, he already been stopped, you know what I mean, 2 days ago or whatever, then I don't have to do my job. That cuts down paperwork, stress, that cuts down harassment.
Right. So that's possible on a local level. Like if a DERM officer puts in information report like, hey, I did this traffic stop, this person, this vehicle, everything was good, bam. So if another DERM officer, and maybe Durham County, I'm not sure, but I know if another DERM officer looks it up, they'll be able to see all of that. But if you went to Raleigh and got pulled over, they don't share the same systems.
Okay.
You get
so here's a question for you,
that's
Justin.
what I'm saying.
In that situation, with what you're talking about, the technology exists, and you stepped out for a second, but the whole defunding the police, conversation is ongoing. So is this a misallocation of funds in order to, like, it's something that they already got the money for, but they just don't want it because they want to get some new chargers or whatever case may be? Like, what is the issue that would stop these various police departments from collaborating and having like a joint system? What do they need?
A lot of times this is based on contracts and what they feel. Hey, I got strawberry hitting.
That's what I was saying.
Yeah, why we got this break? Hey guys, listen, I want to say this right here. If you're on my watch party, don't comment in the watch party comments. Click over to live comments so that way we can actually see your comments. Because I got to jump back and forth because y'all asked some dope questions. Go ahead, we'll finish answering that question. Then I got another question that someone just asked to you also, Just.
Go ahead, ask it, because I don't remember what P9 asked. I don't be paying attention to him.
P9 over drinking Heineken. He drinking Heineken out of cans.
He don't drink. He's drinking near beer.
Near beer.
Oh no.
But no, my man Jung said, you know what I'm saying? So body cameras should be on during all interactions with civilians. Should they be on?
Sure.
Hell yes.
It depends on.
Absolutely.
I mean, in my professional opinion, anytime you're stopping and you're interacting with people, I think that should be on. That goes for on both sides. Having been 20 years in law enforcement, I've come across people and they said, "Oh, you said this and did that." I'm like, "You're lying. I know I didn't say this, or I know I didn't do this." You know what I'm saying? Thank God I've been in the area where there's been a camera. I'm like, when have you heard me say this? You know what I'm saying? Or been around other people that witnessed it, and then like, no, he never said nothing like that at all. So yeah, I do agree. But once again, knowing the business of it, unfortunately, it requires a lot of bandwidth. Or if they're recording, even while they're driving and nothing's going on, then that's useless tape that's being stored in the cloud, bandwidth being used, useless data source. That's why they try to do it like when they're stopping, actually on a stop or on a call. And then I guess human error, they may forget to turn it on. But if you're in good practice, you shouldn't forget to turn anything on once. Right. You know what I'm saying? It should be just as much you taking that seatbelt off, getting out the car, that camera should be coming on. Or even, some cars have the technology, especially the dash cams. Once you hit your lights, you know what I'm saying? it's starting to record from there.
Let
you know
me.
what I'm saying? So it just depends on the contract and the technology that department wants to spend the money on.
But again, that's what coming. That's what defunding the police comes into play, because kind of like what Mr. Berkeley said was like yo, when you different size communities have different needs. Small cities can't afford. That's why we're defunding police, so that way you can spread the wealth. So because they're not, those small towns aren't getting riot gear either. So
right. But then when people, and I love that, and I'm all for that. But I think a lot of people, when it's being said, it's a blanket statement. Right. Just like when they say cops kill people. Yes, they do, but it's not every single cop, and not every single cop is racist. Not every single cop is bad. Just like all black people aren't criminals or thugs, or you know what I'm saying. Like, so if you're going to defund the police, you need to start actually specifying how are you going to defund the police,
and what you mean, and what you mean by that.
Way?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And what you mean by that? You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you know, right.
And I'm all for
defunding bad police departments.
Yeah, get rid of them.
Right.
Get rid of them. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? And incorporate more things that's, more for the community and everything like that. But each community, know what the funds are going for, because you have some people that think defund the police means give them less pay. Right. Some defund police mean get rid of the police, period. You know what I'm saying? But then when it comes to the point of like, okay, you're going to defund police, what part of the budget are you defunding? Are you getting rid of the budget for the equipment? Or the technology that they were going to spend, because it's already low as it is, you know what I'm saying? Or is it extra training that they could have been getting? I mean, what are we saying when we say defund the police, and then what is the plan after that? Like that you're going to do to allocate? How are the funds being allocated on the ground?
I got it. We go back to revolvers. You know what I'm saying? You go back 38 specials. You get rid of some of them. You get rid of some of them fucking. There's no reason why a police department should have a damn Camaro. We don't need it. We don't, you know what I'm saying? Get rid of the Camaros. You know what I'm saying? Go back to the good old Crown Victorias. You know what I'm saying? Get them Crown Victorias at that point. You know what I mean? Listen, cut some of the cars out. Get some of these fat cops walking. Hey. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I don't think they should be unmarked cars. You know what I'm saying?
Should be unmarked cars? No.
You know
what I'm saying? Blue costs too much. I think everybody should wear like a nice paisley. You know what I'm saying? We should be able to tell our police officers, I want them to be a pastels. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? Or you could do. It's like this. If you're a wrongdoer, and I think this is what we should do. If you're a wrongdoer and you get caught and they take your car because you've been wrongdoing, I think they should be able to turn your car into a police car. I mean, there it is. So maybe we might have a police car with some 24s on it. But guess what?
Submitted to the county for for 30 days or 60 days.
Right.
That's what I think. You know what I'm saying? That's a way of kind of thinking out of the box. So that way you can do that. You know what I'm saying? Like, shoot, man. Forget that, man. Police department. I don't think they should defund police departments with low numbers of conflict. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, if you see where an issue is, if it's a hotbed, then you defund that police department. You bring that down so you can refund that. You know what I'm saying? And you move that over. Because some police departments don't have any incidents. You know what I'm saying? They just don't. You know what I mean? Or low incidents, or they have low complaints. So those police departments should be either rewarded or left alone because of their good police work.
I mean, for me, it's more so I look at more not necessarily defunding, but restructuring.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's more so restructuring. I think, personally, professionally, I think that every officer, whatever districts, we're going to talk about Durham. There's, different districts. So if you're in District 4, you should be doing walking patrols in, the major areas of, let's say, District 4. So walk through MacDougal. You know what I'm saying? Get to know the community in there. Who is the mothers of the community? I'm not saying the mothers like who got kids, but who's the old ladies that sit on their porch all day?
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Like, get to know them. You know what I'm saying?
I think
Get
that
to know
should
the
be a
activists in the community.
That
You
should
know
be
what
a
I'm saying?
test.
And then
After
walk.
your first month, what makes Gladys wear on Thursdays? If you don't know, you
Exactly.
can do your
You know what
goddamn
I'm saying?
job. Get out of here. You're fired.
Exactly. So like every new officer should, be doing that, like walking through those districts, getting to know the people in the community and doing that. And spending more time on actually, walking patrol and community policing as opposed to just driving around in the neighborhood. Because like you've always said, Bishop, once they do that, you already know if it's, the first Tuesday of the month, Pookie just got his check, or what I'm saying, or he off his meds or whatever, you can be like, hey, you know how to talk to Pookie, be like, look, I'm calling your auntie if she
Right.
come over here and knock the fuck out. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He gonna be like, all right, I'm settling.
Yeah.
Let's get in this car. Let me take you home. You know what I'm saying? Like we got. It's almost like this. Like I think what our police should strive to be is Andy Griffin. We should have, you know what I'm saying, where you know your town, or your zone. You know what I'm saying? You should be the Andy Griffin of that zone. Because if you ever watch Andy Griffin, you know what I'm saying, they might have had trouble, but he knew what it was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? He knew what it was. I know my community. You know what I'm saying? Like it's a place where, as a police officer, you should know who the drug dealers are. You know what I'm saying? You should know which every one of the drug dealers are. Now you might not have a case on them at that time, but hey, bro, I see you out here. I'm watching, and you know where to keep the kids away from. Because you can't lock up everybody. You know what I'm saying?
No.
But you know what I mean. But it will stop you from shooting the wrong person.
Right. I think that just to go back to what Jess was talking about with body cam, right? Because part of what people are complaining about and crying out for when you're talking about how is the system racist, how is the system set up for injustice, how do we need to change things? So even you're talking about the body cam, right? That's there to create transparency. That's there to say that regardless of what the officer says and whatever the victim or the perpetrator would say, that we can stand outside of the melee or the conflict as observers and observe what happened and make a judgment, right, as to what went right and what went wrong. And that's the purpose of a body cam. So when you have officers that don't turn them on, that's problematic, number one, or obstruct it in some way. That automatically out the gate is like an obstruction of justice, because we're not able to gain transparency and clarity as to what went on, right? Because if you didn't do shit wrong and you did it right, then you don't have a problem taping, even if something does go left. But the thing about it is there's this next level. There's this next level of what makes it cap, right? Because, for example, in North Carolina, before McCrory left, just if an officer was to have an altercation or have something and he had his body cam on, do you know what I got to go through now in North Carolina to get that body cam footage? I have to make a formal request to a judge. First of all, only the victim or the person that is on the camera can request access to the footage. It then goes to a jury, like a grand jury, and a judge decides whether or not he's going to give you access to the footage. And it is up to the judge whether or not he wants to let you see the footage or not. And so it still create, something that was created to make transparency then gets wrapped again in some type of legal protection that doesn't serve the community as far as what it's there to create, on open and honest interactions with police that, if that's not the case, then we hold the officer accountable. Well, if you're telling me that you taped, the public doesn't have permission to see without going to a court and basically subpoenaing that footage, and then the judge decides whether or not he wants me to have it, then that's tough. You know what I'm saying? That's part of I'm just getting at what the real problems are. You know what I'm talking? You know what I'm saying? Things get written in to the laws, and you have really good cops. You have really good cops that want to do their job, and then you have somebody else like your Chauvins or like some of these other cops that want to do things their way, right? They want to do things on their own personal agenda. They do some foul shit, but the police union is going to protect them the same way you protect a good cop. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
They're fighting to keep the police union is fighting right now to keep Chauvin out of jail. You know, he's fired, but if he was still a cop, they would be fighting to keep him out of jail because that's often what happens. Good cop or bad cop, doesn't matter. They don't want to see no cops go to jail. And so if you were an honest and open department, if you had a bad apple in your bunch, you vetting that person and your department, your captain of your department saying the conduct displayed by this officer was gross and egregious. It does not represent the police department or any of the officers of this department. That's not how we get down. That works better than a cop doing some foul shit, you covering it up, you lying about it, and then your DA covering up and lying about it. And then us finding out about it 2 months later because a girl had footage on her cell phone.
Right.
It's this distrust. Now I don't trust your system. You want me to go by your system and I don't trust it. We got 3 cases right now where the system, if you trusted the system, you got played.
Yep.
That's the problem. The system is part of the problem.
Yeah,
that's why people are saying, bust this shit down and redo it.
Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I was saying, you know, the lie detector test, and you know, saying those, whether it's quarterly, semi-annually, or annually, you know, that will start weeding out, and not just for police officers, but I think for prosecutors, for judges, the whole nine. Because if they start showing biases, then it's like you don't need you can't hold a position in that field where you have to be fair and impartial. You know what I mean?
Right. Well, I think it's like this, but also like to speak to the point where it comes with reform, it's kind of like this. Like we spoke today. It's like if you go to work late, you get occurrences. You know what I'm saying? You get up to a certain amount of occurrences, you're fired. So it's like this. Kind of like Just said. So kind of like Just said, he was like, okay, when it comes down to the body cam and all that stuff, you know what I mean? All right, I got solutions for that. I got solutions because they don't have a problem. Remember, what was they selling? The joint when they could see you getting locked up with all your charges and stuff like that? Remember, you could buy a paper for $1 and it gives you all those, you're listed.
Yeah, the slammer.
The slammer. So what I'm saying is like this: to the body cam footage
at every gas station by the cash register.
So to the body cam footage, I'm saying you can literally build a website where it's just nothing but unused body cam. Like send it there. You don't have to house that unless it's for a criminal case. But if it's just a normal stop and everything like that, send it directly there. So that way the public can actually pick that out. Boom. You know what I'm saying? Have it going there to that server. Don't have it bogging down DMV. But I'm saying, so, and then on top of that, if you don't use the equipment the way it's supposed to be used, then you should be suspended. Okay. If you turn on your body, if you forget to turn on your body camera 3 times, you're suspended. You know what I'm saying?
But what I'm saying is, even if it's on, Bishop, good luck getting that footage.
No, that's what I'm saying. Like I'm saying, instead of getting the footage, instead of the officer with the reform, if we're putting a new reform, don't put it in the judge's hand. You know what I'm saying? That's public information. Like your criminal record is public information. If you're stopped, that should be public information. Your body cam footage should be for the public. That's the reason why it's there.
Yeah, okay.
Right, but it's not, and it's not.
Right.
It should be, but it's not. Now,
that's what I'm saying. It should be.
What I would also like to see, you know, within that, and I kept, you know, jumping in and out. My dream's going crazy, so forgive me. But what I would also like in the realm of that, talking about, you know, with the body cam and everyone can see it, you know, it's public knowledge and information. What I would really want is, I guess, in a form of reform where, you know, we're talking about stuff with the officers. I would like more people to have a better understanding of their local department's policies, especially on use of force, because a lot of times they'll see something going on and be like, oh, that's inappropriate. Officers shouldn't do this, that, and the third. And they're well within that right of policy or in law.
Mm-hmm.
and that's because a lot of times the people don't know what the stop and frisk law actually is and what it means, or the Bivens law, what that pertains to, or
we need Karen's law. We need Karen's law. Why are we in this Black Lives Matter? Like, why are we in this moment and we pushing shit through? We need Karen's law.
We do. But
from now on, any white person that called the black police on black people for some bullshit, your ass go to jail. That's we need Karen's law.
So Keisha, the ones that I was just talking about right there are different from state, or aren't different from state to state. I'm talking about law, but also different. It will pertain to whatever city or state, and use of force pertaining is pretty much across the board. You know what I'm saying? Your first form of force, I would say, is your officer presence. Then you get involuntary compliance. Then you have the soft empty hand control, which is the guiding, the gesturing, just the pointing, is a soft empty hand control. Then you have the hard empty hand control, the grabbing, the punching, the strikes, and everything like that. Then you have intermediate, which is baton, OC spray, taser, whatever, that department has. And then the lethal force, which is, the presentation using a gun or anything that is likely to kill someone or cause a seriously bodily injury. So I can sprout that out because I know it. But it's a lot of people that don't know it, and then they're just looking and say like, oh, that's harassment or that's this, and it's like, okay, an officer actually can do A, B, and C, because you did A, B, and C. You know what I'm saying? Right. And I just want the people to have a better understanding of that. So when they're watching the video, then they know what they're looking at. Because some people will not know what they're looking at and can either miss something or misinterpret something as well. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's a problem with a lot of the people too. I guess for me, more so when I'm, talking to different officers and they're like, I don't really see. All right, how can you not see a problem with that? Or I can, talk to certain people on the civilian sector, non-law enforcement, and they're like, oh, this was egregious. And I'm like, nah, actually, it really wasn't that much of an issue. You know what I'm saying? Because here are the elements of jeopardy. Here's this. This person doesn't need to be a lawyer or anything, but I think if we educate more people, whether it's a committee board or whatever, they could be some law enforcement, some outside of law enforcement, you know what I'm saying? And then once they're educated on what's going on, then they can be like, okay, they can have a better understanding of what's going on. And I think a lot of those times that would just help across the board. Just that's what I'm saying. It would help.
So, Kazi, I think we got a new job or whatever for Intelligent and Ratchet. We should be the dudes that comb through this shit.
What to do? What?
We should do that. We should do that. Common sense people should just, you know what I mean? Like, what is the law? What does the law say? This doesn't look like the law to me. Right. Because
the what I think, like, I do this as a part of my career. You know what I'm saying? Like, but I think one of the ones like I really had to break down to people just on in the internet and Facebook when they have those talks where was the Ahmaud Arbery situation, and I had to actually go into Georgia's laws, you know what I'm saying, and look into their situations and be like, okay, well, trespassing means that they have to have knowledge that you can't enter this premise. I'm like, there was no doors on this premise, not even a garage door. There's no trespassing signs. There's no keep out signs. So is there a visible notification that this person can't come on the property? No. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
He went in there, he looked around, you know what I'm saying? So can you say that his intent was to rob somebody? Or no. There were cameras in there to show that he didn't take anything. So did he commit a crime? No. You know what I'm saying? So since there was no crime committed, there was no need, you know what I'm saying, for these people to try to affect the citizens' arrest. Secondly, they called the cops. And once the cops said, okay, we're going to send somebody out there, once again, you have right.
You did your job.
In Georgia, I'm not talking North Carolina. In Georgia, in order for there to be for a person to affect the citizens' arrest, the crime has to be committed in their presence.
Right.
Not the suspicion of it, not the the inkling of it. You have to see them commit a crime. All he did was go in the house and then leave out. You know what I'm saying? Even when the person said, "Hey, what you doing over there?" or whatever, he left. He didn't try to stay in the house or hide in the house. He left. So you know what I'm saying? It was no crime. So it was, even when he called the cops, there was no need for them to actually pursue, because they said they're going to send officers out. So there was no need for them to affect the citizen's arrest. Like, it's little things like that I had to look into Georgia law, and I was like, okay, I'm able to break these things down, incident by incident or narrative by narrative, and say, like, okay, they didn't do this, no crime, no crime, no crime. You know what I'm saying? Nothing really happened until the McMichaels, stopped his movement by blocking him and then coming out with a gun. And by that, you know what I'm saying, he has every right to defend himself on the standing ground law, which is in Georgia as well.
This man lost his life because he went in a fucking construction site, and
they're trying to vilify him. You know what I'm saying?
That was over a $20 bill, a bad 20.
So if that's the case, God calls the cops. It is what it is. They can be doing the investigation on this, because I looked at that as well. I have enough, looking at the video, I got enough reason to believe, okay, he could have been claustrophobic. So him being in the back of a police car, which is a very tight space, especially if they have like the cage and the stuff up, is very tight and uncomfortable. Could he start having a panic attack? Yeah, that's reasonable if a person's claustrophobic.
Right.
Like it makes sense. And if they put him in the car and he's struggling in the car and they pull him out, okay, that's fine. But there's no justification of why they put their knee on his neck and his torso and stopped his breathing. And I explained that on Straight to Tape. Shout out to the people at Straight to Tape that allowed me to explain it. Holding his neck and his torso down so he can't even, breathe in and breathe out. And I guess, everybody knows if you breathe out, your chest collapses, your rib cage collapses. If you breathe out, it expands. You know what I'm saying? You got 200 pounds on you. So every time you're breathing out, your joint is collapsing. You can't even let the joint expand because you got 200 plus extra pounds on you. You know what I'm saying? And you're not even putting that into consideration or allowing this man to breathe or allow breath into his body. It's intentional, in my opinion. If I had to go to court, I'd say that's what it was.
And what they also did, they just brought some shit up that we've been new. That him and the officer already had prior dealings when he did security at the nightclub. They talked to one of the bouncers, and the bouncer said they bumped heads. Him and the officer bumped heads or whatever about how he was treating the black patrons at this place. They asked the owner about it, and the owner said, she believes that he was fearful of black people. You know what I'm saying? So that's a joint. But I'll also because we've been harping on this, I want to talk about something a little bit more lighter, if I could say. Your man, your homeboy, the dude you voted for, P Nominal.
That's P's dude.
That's P dude. You know what I'm saying? Our Dan Rather said, "Yo, look at this."
That's how you feeling, Kazi?
Your man Trump has chosen a venue for his rally, Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Now, I mean, I see this Dan Rather, so I would trust him as a reliable media source. You know what I'm saying? But I'm reading this, I'm like, yo, was he serious?
Is he serious?
Trump. That's Trump. That's Trump being smart. He's gonna go to the site of the biggest race riot in American history on the day that black people got set free, and talk about how he loves black people and how he's done more for blacks than Obama ever did. It's all part of the game. It's all about posturing.
So I'm gonna say this: I've heard I haven't found this to be true yet, but I heard and I saw the article. I wish I would have kept it. But it's supposed to be like the nationalists, the white nationalists or whatever, especially those that are in law enforcement, they're going to start wearing like the white mask. Not like the surgical mask, but like, you know how in Watchmen they wore the yellow joints? They're going to be wearing the white ones. So if you see that, that's kind of like, I was like, oh, okay.
It's the hoods on your mouth. It's the hoods on your mouth. You put your hoods on your mouth there.
I'm going to keep my eye on that. I'm going to keep my eye on that one. Because I thought that was great.
I mean, I've been, I don't doubt it, bro, because it's just like them little hand signs that cats be throwing up to each other. Like, it's the subliminal shit in plain sight. You see Trump wave by, Trump hold that hand out for like 1,000, 2,000, and then he starts waving.
Oh,
every time, bro.
I'm gonna look at that.
Time.
I'm gonna
pay
attention to that.
He holds it out for 1,000, 2,000, and then he'll wave. Lord, Ingram does that shit. Yeah, there's a couple people. Yeah, he's very good at what they call gaslighting, dog whistle, like, he's
on some
one
troll
country. Yeah, when he said when they be looting, they're shooting, straight out of Ku Klux Klan narrative.
Yep.
America first was the Ku Klux Klan's. That was their have a Coke and a smile. America first was like their slogan. Like these is all like little dog whistle shit. Like it's MAGA night. He knows what he meant when he said that shit.
Which is what I mean. One of the things I've always talked about when I said he promotes a negative energy, a hatred energy. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. It keeps it stirred up.
You know what I'm saying? He does.
What is it about? Because that's the thing. If you ain't your vibe attract your tribe. What is it about? What is it about Trump that brings out the rebel flags and the Nazis that makes them feel like it's their time? You know what I'm saying? To make them feel like where they can start pulling up and having rallies and be so open with it. Like Katz is super open with it right now.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
I
saw when y'all saw the Black Lives Matter rally when dude was in his yard with his knee on somebody's neck.
Yep. Oh, he got fired.
Yeah, he got fired.
Yeah. Right. But
so that bugs me too. Like I see what you're symbolizing, but then I'm like, you stupid motherfucker. All the people that actually do it, I'm like, y'all not doing it the same way that officer was doing it. You know what I'm saying? And if you think that's not possible, let me go ahead and get on y'all. Because I'm 250.
Yeah,
let me get on y'all the same
you getting fat. I said just getting fat. Fat for Just.
So, right.
I'm hustling.
No car for you, Just.
Look,
and
I'm thick, fat. Let me stop.
While we on the subject of taking a knee, how do y'all feel about the NFL having to basically apologize?
Bring Cat back.
They didn't apologize. They didn't apologize. They
didn't apologize.
That was an apology. That wasn't. That was like, oh shit.
That was a roundabout apology.
Yeah, it was like because all he did was this. All he did was this right here. He saw all his star players, black players, got on his call,
and his number one mixed player, who was claiming his blackness. Like, nah, my dad black. I represent. You know what I'm saying? Like, from Mahomes, Katz was counting on Mahomes playing it safe.
Right.
Katz was counting on Mahomes playing like, well, he's borderline a white boy. He ain't gonna say nothing. And Mahomes said, nah, bro, my dad black, my mom white, but these issues affect me. I represent my blackness just as much as my whiteness, and this is a real issue. Once Mahomes said that shit,
I ain't even know.
He's one of the main people in the video.
I know Breeze tried to backpedal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Mahomes and Deshaun Watson go super hard in the video.
Right. But no, what I'm saying is that with Drew Brees or whatever, and someone, I forgot who said it. It was on, I was watching, I want to say I was watching Not Sports.
Aaron Rodgers said it. Aaron Rodgers said Black Lives Matter.
Right. But with Drew Brees, what they said with Drew Brees, they explained it. They explained it very eloquently. They said Drew Brees is in a bubble Because once you're the top quarterback and everything like that, you're in a bubble.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like this because, again, Drew Brees is not necessarily racist. He's not racist. His comments were just insensitive because he didn't take into account that when you say my father, my grandfather fought war for the flag, guess who else grandfather fought for the flag?
Mine.
Bro, I got so many. I have multiple members of my family that have served in the armed forces, including my father, 22 years. So,
my grandfather was a mechanic for the Tuskegee Airmen. Like it's a small stone that's at the Durham VA that honors him. Like what I'm saying, like
right. So you speaking to a great fact, Bishop, is that they act like that narrative of that flag ain't got like black people, like that flag is supposed to represent us too. You know what I mean? But like it's only white people that died for it, or only white people that served this country.
And on the flip side of that is this right here. See, the thing is between me, your grandfather, and my grandfather's fought side by side. But see, when your grandfather came home, he was cool. When my grandfather came home, you know what he got to deal with? He had to go then fight for his civil rights.
Exactly.
Yeah. Come home and get killed by a cop.
Come home and get killed by a cop. Come home and still get lynched. Come home and still be. I mean, I'm talking about this. Go over that mug and kill the Germans for you, or whoever we had to go kill. Then come back and be called a boy, and I saved your motherfucking
life. Yep.
Right. Facts. That's a strong point, and that's not, and that's what I was saying. Like, I'm glad for Justice's perspective on this show, because I just saw a firefighter, a Providence, Rhode Island firefighter, talking about cops pulled him over, drew guns on him. He was in his uniform and had his scanner with him.
Right.
And he said they wouldn't stand down. You know what I'm saying? And because I just saw him tell his story. He's like, yo, I'm a fucking Providence firefighter, and I almost lost my life. You know what I'm saying? And
I mean, I see a lot of people sharing their stories, and it's like, you know what? I'm gonna share my story one day.
Right.
I'm gonna just do a video because I really don't feel like it's too much that type. You know what I'm saying? But just from my first horrific interaction with police. I mean, people been doing the joint with racism, and I'll show that too. But I'm like, nah, I had this shit with police, and then this is why I became an officer, because I've always been. And if y'all know me longer, y'all know I'm more so like, okay, I want to give y'all the information of, this is why. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I'm also understanding it's a lot of shit that I don't agree with. You know what I'm saying? A lot of shit that I don't like. But I understand. You know what I'm saying? I can be like, hey, y'all, this is why they doing A, B, and C. So if we don't do they can't do and if they do actually do that, then they're wrong. You know what I'm saying? We can call them on their shit. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I've always been that. You know what I'm saying? That person. And I was like, I'm gonna actually make a video and share, like, because my joint was crazy. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's like
it's crazy. It's crazy. It's like this. It's like for real. When we stop being, it's like this. This is what America's getting to at this point in time. When we can make the step to say, we could demonize the black male. You know what I'm saying? Like, yo, to just go out, because everybody, like, my thing is this right here. I hate when people come out and do the thing, like when they want to do the argument about when you say Black Lives Matter and stuff, then they want to start hitting you with statistics. Well, this is what. Listen, what I'm saying is right here.
I hate
right here. I want to know. I don't care about numbers. I grew up in the hood. I know the percentages of people in the hood that most, like I'm saying, a vast majority, any projects, we go to McDougal, which we all agree it's probably one of the roughest projects ever, right? But the vast majority of the people that live there are just trying to don't want no trouble.
Yeah.
Zero. And I'm talking about, and then let's go to the underworld. I'm going to the underworld because we all know drug dealers. We all know people. Guess what? People that's going to rob and murder you and all that shit. Half the time it's like this. The people that are selling drugs or anything like that don't want no trouble with you either. You know what I'm saying? Because I just want to sell my drugs. Now you do got some sick psychos and straight up thug ass cats that's willing to go for. But a lot of those dudes right there, when it happens, when it actually happens, are accident murderers. They get into a situation, you know what I'm saying, and they end up popping their gun and don't mean to pop it. Now they gotta live that life. So, you know what I'm saying? So it ain't that many. When I'm saying this right here, it ain't that many real killers out here that just want to see human life ended just because they want to be thugged out.
Ain't that many sociopaths in the world.
Ain't that many sociopaths what they trying to make it out in the hood. And if you break it down, it's like this. The only thing it is they're poor. So guess what? Yes, there's a little bit of desperation. And that puts that gun in the wrong person's hand sometimes, and that shit happens. Or what they do, they rob the wrong person in desperation because they never had anything. You know what I'm saying? The black community has been given drugs, has been given guns. It's like this. I be looking at these videos and stuff like that, like even in other countries, they be running around barefoot with a 100-round clip 9mm. You know what I'm saying? Like, how does that happen? Where did it get? Have you? You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? You seen those? You
talking about them child rebel soldiers and shit?
No, I'm talking about like you see them in the Bavarios or whatever. They be out there barefoot with secondhand.
The favelas.
The favelas. Like, how you out here ain't got no real roof, but you got a $2,000 gun in your hand?
Because that's the cartel provide. That's courtesy of the cartel.
Them bullets come a dime a dozen. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know, that's a company.
I lived in Korea. I lived in South Korea. I lived in Seoul. Shout out to Seoul. Shout out to Incheon. Shout out to Itaewon. Shout out to Daegu. You know what I'm saying? I lived in South Korea for a few years.
Korea, they listening. They out here watching.
Yo, I love Korea. But I seen like those people out there. It could be the smallest thing. Like they protest everything, and the people come out in droves. And when the protests, I would say really get to the point where it's like getting violent. Even then, like out there, the police officers don't have guns. Like you have to be like a high-ranking officer to have a gun. The basic patrolman. They just walk around. It's 2 or 3 of them at a time, and they all walking or riding around together. You know what I'm saying? In the car, and they, you know what I'm saying? Because they also have like their draft is different. Like for them, every male has to either serve in the military or in the police force by the time they're 21. You know what I'm saying? You had to do a couple years, or I'm sorry, 25. But when those people are protesting for, you know, whatever rights or equality or injustice or whatever, I mean, I've seen them throw Molotov cocktails at military bases or at police stations. Right. And, you know what I'm saying? They just, hey, go ahead, do what you got to do. All right, y'all done? All right, we're going to give y'all 3 hours to wreck shop at this police station. Once y'all done, we're going to clean up and y'all got to get the heck out of here. If y'all ain't done by 3 hours, then we're going to start beating y'all ass. Like,
right.
You know what I'm saying? It's like,
y'all got 3 hours to show your social injustice. Okay, we're going to fix this shit.
Go ahead and do it.
Right?
I mean, did it not kind of feel like that's what, like, Minneapolis decided on them first couple nights of rioting? Like, all right, we just going to let y'all burn this bitch down tonight. Like, let you get it out. Because there was no response really like that first couple nights. The cops were nowhere. The cops, because I just remember them kept being like the cops were nowhere to be seen. Cops
it was dangerous. It was dangerous.
But that's what I'm saying. Right.
No, they were true stories like Cosby. Like honestly, as a police chief, you know what I'm saying? It's like this. If I put myself in the same position and I'm like, you got to look at the joint. Oh, these motherfuckers are right. The last thing I want to do is to put my officers in danger. Because guess what? You would have put them out there in that joint, it would have been it would have been some murder.
That Sunday night, somebody would have died. That was a wild
somebody would have died.
That Sunday night was wild. I ain't gonna lie. I stayed up all night watching TV that night. I never seen nothing like that. Yeah.
Hold on, what?
Yeah. I mean,
shout out to my
guys here in Durham. Shout out to Durham PD because they really work good together.
Right.
Make everything, work.
Shouts out to my cousin
space
Leisha
to
checking
get
in.
Shout out to Leisha. Hey, you know what? Let's shout out all the Ratchet hitters coming in right now. Shout out to
Yeah.
Leisha.
What up, Leisha? Love
Shout
you,
out to
cuz.
Victor.
Love you.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
Shout out to Candy. She's been a regular.
Yeah.
Meredith is in here.
Yep. Keisha, hey, Just Key got top fan tonight, yo. She got top fan award tonight.
Yeah. Keisha got top fan. Go ahead, Keish.
Go ahead, Keish. Yeah, straight to tape. Yeah, that's Keish from straight to tape.
You said Sunday night was when Revolutionary cut. Well, if you've been following me, Candace, if you've been following like my posts on Facebook, I just been keeping it, just what I've been thinking, just thinking out loud, really, and promoting conversation.
I gotta say, you really have like inspired me. You know what I'm saying? Motivated me to, like even more so speak my truth.
Right
I
on, man.
feel like typing all that stuff. That's why I said
I got
I'd
you, bro.
just speak a video. I'd rather just make a video and just like, yo, or just speak it out here. So, you know what I'm saying, when we talking or whatever. But I'm like, yo, Kazi's spitting a lot of jewels. You know what I'm saying? I
appreciate it, bro. I appreciate it. I feel like that we need everybody's voice is important in this moment. I think that's what I realized. I ain't, like I said, I don't got it figured out. I ain't Malcolm X, but I got, like you said, you have a lot of experiences, just everybody and every black man and woman, every person of color. And I'll even say, when we talk, and I want to talk about this after that, it's the economics of it, right? Because I got a thing to say, but I just been trying to put it out there because I know there's a couple things, right? There's people that want to speak on it that might not know how. And if them seeing me speak on something makes it easier or gives them the ammunition to have the debate with people or have the argument, this is a moment where we are trying to figure out, what do I think? How do I feel about this shit? You know what I'm saying? Right. You have some people that are like, yo, I've had this happen to me. I've lost somebody. I've had to dance around this shit my whole life, right? Or like, everybody is, I think, at a different place in their experience with racism, but everybody's had an experience with it, right? And whether you're white or you're black, depending on where you are with it, you could be really fucking angry right now, you know what I'm saying? Or you could be more open to like, hey, I'm here to promote love, peace, and happiness. I think everybody's valid.
Yeah.
If you're mad as hell and you want to stomp out a cop car, you're valid. If you're somebody that's like, right, if you're somebody that wants to pass out daisies and, have a kumbaya, you're valid. But I think after all the posturing, after taking the knees in kente cloth, after, and RIP to his family, we've had 3 funerals. We're good on the funerals now. Okay? We can let him rest now and get down to the work. Because there's a window of opportunity that this window of opportunity ain't never been open this far. Right. This door for opportunity for advancement ain't never been open this far. And to think that it's going to be laid out for us on a platter would be naive to think. Yeah. Because it's sand in an hourglass. It's like playing whatever that game is we used to play in the board game, and you turn the sand over, and when the sand was out, your turn is over. Yeah. It's sand. The joint's turn. The sand dripping now. Yeah. Right? Because we have everybody's attention. We're coming out of quarantine. We've got everybody's attention. There's a moment that have sorrow that has gripped the nation. But make no mistake, as people get back to their normal lives and shit will start to fade. And I think that's what's different about this movement, because this movement's like, ain't no going back to normal. When you go outside, there's going to be 5,000 teenagers laying in the street talking about they can't breathe. Right. Like, we're not going to get back to normal until we fix this situation. Until it's
the only thing that's on the news. It's like the civil rights movement. It's at a perfect place because there's nothing else going on. There's no NBA out here to distract. There's no NBA, like the football players, your favorite basketball player. Now it's like this. I don't have to go to practice. Right. I can be out here. Go ahead.
Right. But yeah, you're right, Bishop. Because I'm just speaking to the fact that there's a lot of ground to cover, and that's why I'm saying we got to be careful. Let's get some accountability and some convictions. Then let's figure out if we want to talk about defunding the police and how we reallocate things and not scare the shit out of everybody that thinks that means get rid of all the police. That's not feasible for a lot of cities, and we know that, right?
Thank you.
But I think there's a middle ground. I think
There
there's
is.
a middle ground where
agree.
we can say we want less of less of what we already have enough of, and we want more towards education, healthcare, all the disparities that we see in blackness now. Damn, even the virus picks on us, right?
Mm-hmm.
Nah, it's no different. It's just exposing what was already there. Not having insurance.
Mm-hmm.
We're on a quarantine, but all the black people ain't on quarantine. We got to go to fucking work. The bills didn't stop. So, of course it's us dying. We're driving the bus. We're bringing you your food. We're the one in Food Lion. We're the one running the subway, right?
Amazon.
These people.
Right. So if you're telling me LAPD had an extra $150 million that they were going to go buy a bunch more tear gas and batons and shit like that, and they said instead, Garcetti said instead, we're going to do some education, some summer programs. We're going to do some free lunch. We're going to do some, something for, homeless, to help the homeless.
Yeah.
There's $150 million will go a long way in helping the community. And that's the money that's missing.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I look, man, I totally agree. Like when and for those that don't know, out on in Ratchet land, you know what I'm saying? 20 years in law enforcement, some from military police, and then now federal service. So, I got some knowledge on how things operate, especially in my position now, supervise shifts and everything like that. So it's certain things when they talk about those things, and I'm like, okay, and we start learning about budgets, and I'm like, okay, it's a budget for hiring, it's a budget for training, like it's a budget for equipment, it's actually a budget for lawsuits. Like they have a certain budget set aside, like, okay, this is going to be our payout budget, where it's going to be like, okay,
we're going to get sued X amount of time.
We're going to give you this. Here's your $100,000. You know what I'm saying? Like, they got $600,000 in the budget. Here's your $70,000 right here. You know what I'm saying?
Do y'all use that to settle out of court as well?
Yeah.
Okay. Right on. Yeah, I was just wondering because I know the goal is to not go to court.
Right. So that's what I'm saying.
Like settle out of court. Right.
It's more so of like, you get that one, and it's like, okay, they gonna do arbitration first, and they gonna do everything first. Like, all right, look, we just gonna give you the family, and everything gonna be. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do settlements. You know what I'm saying?
There you go. The family received a settlement for 1 point. That's what they're saying. George Floyd family is about to get a settlement.
Right. So you know what I'm saying? Because they actually go to court. So they actually.
I ain't heard the number yet.
You know what I'm saying? I haven't heard one either. But
it's gonna be a big noise.
You know what I'm saying?
It's gonna be a Powerball number. I know that.
So it's budgets for everything. You know what I'm saying? So if you want to defund, which is fine, but where are you, removing the money from, and then what are you moving it to? You know what I'm saying? I had some people say, when I was glad, some people are saying that it's not feasible to just totally get rid of police. Because I don't think that either. Not just because I'm in the profession, but just because it just doesn't make sense to me.
I agree.
Because
what are we going to put in their place? The military?
Right. What are we going to put in their place, for certain things? Now, wellness checks, I get it. We can certain wellness checks. You know what I'm saying? Like when a person is high risk and they need somebody to go check on them. A lot of times they're sending someone from the police departments or the sheriff's department, deputy sheriff or whatever, to go, check on this person, make sure you're good, you're in good mental well-standing. Okay, we're going to keep them going, or we're going to bring you to the hospital. A lot of times I think that a social worker could do that. However, I got to throw that out. However, I already know, based on my experiences,
Pookie ain't take his meds.
When Pookie ain't take his meds and he entered the door and he covered in baby oil and he got a cucumber up his butt and he masturbating and you know what I'm saying, and he 300 pounds.
Oh, it's too much. That
is that social worker really going to be like, oh, I can handle this? He or she going to be
like, listen, that's Kazi Saturday night. Okay, so you know what I'm saying.
Social worker gonna be like, I brought what you told me.
Don't tell me.
I stopped by the store. Yeah, like I brought your favorite.
Right. But when they start, when you get some, some certain things like that, it's like, okay. So I don't think it's necessarily getting rid of police for more social workers, but I think they should have more teams in that sense of mental health. Have a social worker, have a police officer, have a EMT or someone in that aspect. So as a team, they go over there, they check on this person or these people. Right. That's their whole job, and things are straight. You know what I'm saying? So you have all aspects of it. You have the mental aspect. Okay, yes, it's a good person standing. Physical, do they look good? The EMT says yes. Legally, had they committed a crime? Officers like, no, they're fine. And it's like, all right, we good. Hey, call us if you really need us. You know what I'm saying? Like, you haven't really committed any crime or nothing that we need to bring you in or nothing like that. Then it is what it is. Like,
right.
I just got ideas and plans because I see the shit. You know what I'm saying? I do this shit on a daily. I think when they actually do it, they need to actually put people or talk to people that's on, I don't want to say the battlefield, but that's actually doing this shit.
Mm-hmm. Right.
As opposed to those higher ups that think they know. You know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah.
When you, like undercover boss, they don't talk to, the higher management. They talk to the people that's actually sewing the shit and wiping the grass. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is what the company needs to do. Blah, 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 blah. Like, you know what I'm saying?
And they learn more in that one like little 30-minute episode. It always seems like the CEO learns more about their company in like an hour than he learned all his career.
You know what I'm saying?
From being on that lowest common
denominator. Being on that lowest level, doing the job that they normally wouldn't do or wouldn't want to do, but learning how management operates on that level, learning the payroll and learning the situation, and learning what's problematic,
right.
You know what I'm saying, throughout the whole department, throughout their whole agency or company. So I think they need to start speaking more to those people that are actually doing the situations on that lowest level, and then they can make the better assessments of what they need then. You know what I'm saying? Right. As opposed to the upper management.
Josh, Nathaniel, look in the comments. Nathaniel had this question for you. Bang.
Yeah, there are. So I'm part of, for Durham, I'm part of the CIT, Crisis Intervention Team. And I'm on the leadership board for the city. And what Crisis Intervention Team is a team of all first responders from police, fire, EMTs, everything from all the agencies in Durham. So Durham City, Durham County, the fire department, the VA, NCCU police, whoever. And we teach all first responders identifiers of how to identify someone when they're in crisis. From it's a mental health issue, if it's a social not social, but if it's a substance abuse issue, if it's someone that is autistic and they're in crisis, how do you identify this person when they're in crisis, and the measures that you can take to de-escalate the situation? And then furthermore, now once you de-escalate it and you're going to get them help, what's the resource? Because not everyone that's in a mental health crisis needs to go to jail.
Right.
You could take a person to recovery interventions. You could take a person to Threshold. You could take a person to Wellness City. You could take a person to these different programs, you know what I'm saying, that's going to help. Like, I think back to that one, and the dude was laying on his ground with his hands up, and he's like, he's a mental health patient that's not a gun, that's a train. You know what I'm saying? Like, and you can see how he was playing with the train. Like, if those officers were trained, you know, and identifying, like, okay, I can look by, you know, certain characteristics in his face or his body style or how he's manipulating this toy or this object. Yes, that's a person that has mental health issues. You know what I'm saying? Whatever. I'm going to approach this person this way.
Right.
Or if I know that a person is, you know, whether they're autistic or they're having dementia, okay, you know what? It's raining. It's crazy right now. That most people go to the sound of water. Let me go to the river. Let me go by the storm drain. Let me try to find them in this place where they normally would be hiding because they're afraid of lights. You know what I'm saying? Like, okay, if a person's autistic, I don't want to just go up and touch them, you know what I'm saying, instantly because they're very defensive.
Right.
Let me put my hand up and say, hey, or a person that's dementia, like, okay, their vision is impaired. Let me not just walk up with them. Let me say, hey, how you doing?
Right.
I come in peace. My name is Justin. I'm here to help you. You know what I'm saying? What's your child's name? Do you have a son or a daughter that I can call? Like, it's certain those things, like, you know what I'm saying? Do you know where you're at right now? Like, it's all those things that they've been teaching Durham. And shout out to, you know, Mayor Schul. He's mandated that every Durham officer, once they complete the basic academy, they have to go through this course right after the academy. And we're working on incorporating it into the academy as well. So
that's dope.
That's police reform at its best. You know what I'm saying? Because that way you don't, and along with the other reforms like getting the cops out of the cars and all that stuff, if you're going through that training program, you're getting out of the car, you know the people, because honestly, it's about familiarity. It's like this, once you're familiar with the people that you're policing, you know what I'm saying, you can be better police. You know what I'm saying? And it's like this, at the end of the day, then that's when good policing comes into play, because you know what the issue is. Because what it is like this, because then on the flip side, we don't then, you know what I'm saying, if you're doing good police work and you and everything like that, you can stop a lot of shit from happening too.
You could.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You can stop, you know what I mean? You can stop that one kid that looks like he's that's getting abused, because a lot of times people fall through the cracks.
That exactly. And then with the proper training, you can see that. And then, like I said, not only do you identify that, it's also about the reform, getting them once they're in that crisis, because a cop is never going to get called when, hey, just want to tell you, it's a block party, everything good. It's always, hey, this person's getting their ass beat or some shit going on or whatever.
Right.
So, you know, they're already going because something bad has happened or there's some type of issue.
Right. But if you're in the neighborhood all day, if you're in the neighborhood every day,
officer gets called and he can see all of that. Okay, this person's in crisis. All right, I can see this person has substance abuse or whatever, or this person is on this narcotic. Do I need to take this person to jail, or do I need to take this person to Duke so they can get detox and rehab and then go into this other thing?
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
So I got a question too, since we got a break. We talk about my man, you know what I'm saying, that used to own BET, you know what I'm saying, that brought Charlotte the Bobcats. Talk about reparations for the black folks. So I think it's to the tune of what, $300,000. It's to what did they say? Was it
Bob Johnson?
Yeah, Bob Johnson, good old Bobby Bobcat. They call him Robbie Rob in the streets. You know what I'm saying?
$14 trillion is what he's asking.
Was it 14 trillion? $14 trillion. Ratcheteers, $300,000 one-time payment. Do you think that's fair for the shit that we've been through? You know what I'm saying? Because that equivalates to the 40 acres and a mule. You know what I'm saying? That we should have got when we fought this motherfucker for the Civil War. What's popping? What you going? You know what I'm saying? Are you taking? You want more money, Kazi, or we gonna go with Kazi first? Your reparations check. We having reparation. You know what I'm saying? 300,000 enough, or should we go for more? Or how would you structure it?
Oh my God.
Tough question.
You know, man.
He wasn't ready.
I don't know. I'm thinking about my response because what are you giving me $300,000 for? To say sorry, I enslaved y'all's people and economically disenfranchised y'all for 450 years while I was killing y'all? Is that what 300,000 is for?
This is I'm saying it's like, yo,
no,
I'm
asking. Just to say, like, we cool now, right? Like, we cool now. Is that what the 300,000 is for?
Yo, here's your 300. Yo, here's your 40 acres and a mule. We promised you, bro. My bad, B.
Yeah. I don't. For me, structurally, that ain't the way to do it. I'll say this: if they were like reparations for Black folks, everybody getting 300,000, I'm not gonna turn my check down. I'm not gonna sit here and be one of those people to say I ain't gonna take my 300,000. No, I gobble that shit up. It go right in my bank account.
Right.
However, now that we're talking about it in the hypothetical, is that the way that I feel like it would be most effective? No, I don't. I'm
saying this right here, along with everything else, like reform.
Right.
Like I'm saying, we're gonna go through reform, but they're saying that okay, because at some point they did the same thing for the Native Americans, they did the same thing for the Jewish people. They said, you know what? We know it's not enough.
Right.
But here's something.
Right.
Here's something. And now, I mean, because I'm saying I'm here, like I'm the government. You know what I'm saying? I'm asking Kazi to negotiate where your 300,000 or do you? Because when I heard it, I said nah. You know why I said nah? I think it should not be a one-time payment because of generations of that going on, of what's going on. So what I think it should be an annuity payment that should be paid out to every Black child for as long as America, for another 400 years. It should be a generational payment. When you reach a certain age, you should get an annual supplemental annuity to your income to start you on a right path. So financially, you know what I'm saying? What it does is this right here. When your baby is born, you know what I mean? Up until the end of that person's life, because again, y'all made money off of us for 400 years. So it should be a 400-year annuity plan. So that way, no generation after the generation that this comes out will ever be in financial straits or dire straits and financially. So it should be maybe an extra 50 a year for your natural life.
Pardon my tone, because I'm just one of them, bro. Like, even though I feel like it's owed to us, Black people built this country, I'm one of them type of people that's like, yo, I don't even want your handout, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because because this is the thing. It's like, that's not absolving the problem. You giving everybody $1,200 a couple months ago didn't absolve the problem. We right back where we were. And if you think that what's 300,000 after taxes? Let's just be real.
No, you got to put the
let's take a walk with me. That's $100. That's 100,000.
Right. That's what I'm saying. Walk with me here. I'm walking. That's what I'm saying. Walk with me. Now we're talking about 100,000 after taxes for slavery. For fixed slavery. No, this is what I'm saying. So this is what I would much rather. If you're telling me $14 trillion as an apology, this is what I would say. Break everybody off with X amount of bread, cash in hand. We Black people, we like our bread. I want my bread on me. We like our money. Let me get it. Let me hold it. Right? But then when we talk about what's systemic, break down what's systemic. Any Black kid that wants to go to college, here's 100,000 towards you going to school. Here's 50,000 towards you going to school. Guaranteed. If you got grades, you can get admitted. The government will put 50,000, 40,000 towards your education. If you're a Black person, you're a first-time home buyer, the government will put 100,000 towards you buying your home, 150 towards you buying your home. You're a Black entrepreneur. You're buying your first business. You're opening your first place of business. Our government will waive taxes for the first 2-3 years. Our government will subsidize X amount of money towards you opening your first business. That I'm saying, let's get down to the problem.
That's what I'm
fix some shit. Because if I give if I give my fellow brothers and sisters,
you say how you want to say it. Be intelligent.
Yeah, for sure. But I just don't want to. I'm just saying. I don't. If I give you if I give my brothers and sisters $100,000 after taxes and say that that's gonna fix to wipe out everything that's been done over the last 450, we are shortchanging ourselves.
Right.
It's not gonna fix everything that's fucked up.
No, that's a short-term fix. We need a long, we need not even long-term. We need a permanent fix.
I think every African American should get percentage in cotton sales also. Like anytime a spirit is sold, you know what I'm saying? I think we should get percentage of that. Because honestly,
they sell some Fruit of the Loom or Hanes or
if it's a cotton ball sold in the park, I want it. You guys are starved.
Q-tips, I want in.
And speaking of what y'all speaking to, this is how deep it runs.
Right.
This is how deep it runs. Racism stole rock and roll.
Yeah.
The king of rock and roll is Chuck Berry. The king of rock and roll is Little Richard.
Little Richard, yeah.
Big fact.
You see what I'm saying? Racism stole a whole genre of music and put it, to where like these people's legacy of what they would have made as touring artists and as legends in their genre, as trailblazers, it took that and moves it away. Jimi Hendrix, I was just talking about this with somebody today. And we look back at Jimi Hendrix now, we look back at Dr. King now, and everybody waxes so poetical. Jimi Hendrix could not book he couldn't even get a fucking show booked. The Rolling Stones thought Jimi Hendrix was dope. Saw him overseas because he was getting shows overseas. He couldn't get a show here. Saw him overseas, took him on tour with him, came back to the United States, had a huge show in Bakersfield, California. And they told the promoter, Jimi Hendrix is going to headline this show. And the promoters resisted, like, no. And the Rolling Stones is like, if Jimi Hendrix don't headline this show, we ain't fucking performing. That's what it took for Jimi Hendrix to get a headlining show in America. Because they weren't going to book a black rock and roll headliner, right? And so you're talking about how deep the shit runs, bro. You know what I'm saying? You're talking about a whole era of Satchel Pages and Josh Gibsons that are off the Major League Baseball books,
right? But I want to step into what reparations really is, though, right?
Yeah. But before you make me lose my fucking thought, real quick, let me.
Well, watch your mouth. Watch how you speak to me, because you're not.
I'm just saying.
Don't know where you live.
No, because you will bust a hard right in the middle of me making a point, and I will forget what the fuck I was talking about.
My bad, yo.
So, it's cool. Nah, it's cool. So. Like I'm just saying the things that racism stole as far as legacy, because you got motherfuckers out here believing Eli Whitney made the cotton gin. That's bullshit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You're talking about black inventors that were making products and making things that they couldn't even get patents for. Jack Daniels.
How about Jack Daniels?
Colonel Sanders made a recipe for some fried chicken. Yeah, right.
Get out of here.
You know what I'm saying?
That was his man.
Right. Benjamin Banneker, you just have so many stories that literally, hidden figures, all of these stories that are coming out, and it's like racism has a dust over them.
Mm-hmm.
And when you blow that shit, our history is there. It's been there since the beginning. It's American history. And so, cats got to come to terms with some facts that they had to make up some shit to bamboozle everybody into thinking that we wasn't the brilliant, beautiful, strong motherfuckers that we are. So he had to make up some shit to bamboozle everybody into thinking otherwise.
So what I'm saying with the and I want to jump right back on the reparation, because I see where y'all coming from with it, right? You know what I'm saying? But just, again, but reparations was supposed to be the head start. It wasn't supposed to be that 40 acres in a mule. Was it gonna make black folk rich? It was just gonna put us. It was gonna put us on a good footing so we could get to that equal footing. You know what I'm saying? 40 acres and one mule. That's all it was supposed. Now we understand this right here, because again, we got black folks and we got people that happen to be black. You know what I'm saying? So some of niggas was gonna do this. The people that happen to be black was gonna take their 40 acres and a mule. They was gonna sell that land and mule and drink it up and still be in poverty, right?
Right.
Then you would have had your smart black people that would have that would have went ahead and brought their 40 acres, then would have had 8 acres and 2 mules, and they would have kept it going on, and they would have built. Those families would have been able to build generational wealth. That's what the American dream is, ladies and gentlemen. It's the opportunity to be a fuck up if you want to be a fuck up, but also be a major contributor and a king and a queen if you feel like doing that too. That way, that's all this reparations is. Because if they gave us the $350,000 or whatever, and of course we got to negotiate that shit. Like, nah, no taxes for that shit. This overtime, y'all owe us from 400 years ago. This you just paying us our overtime wages. So boom, when you put that up there, three out of us on this panel, even right now, are going to do what we're supposed to do with that money. We're going to invest that money. We're going to make sure that money is cultivated correctly back in the streets with crack cocaine, so that way it can go ahead and, you know what I'm saying, perpetrate wealth for our families. You know what I'm saying? But
right.
And other ones are just going to sit there and go ahead and buy a motorcycle, get more DK equipment,
get a whole box of Newports,
a full box of Newports, and some.
The 18
for life.
I'm rich, bitch.
I'm rich. Just be taking Instagram pictures with our 350. But you know what I'm saying?
I'm putting it up to my ear.
Like you on the phone.
Yeah. What you doing, P? I ain't doing nothing. Telling you, Ratchet got our 350. Like, you know what I'm saying? You got it in cash. But at the end of the day, it's like this. Hold on, what's your... Okay, hold on, I can't hear you. But you know what I'm saying? But it's like this. So at the end of the day, it's like what we have to do is, if they do give it to us, use it smartly, because that is not a handout. And any stretch of imagination.
What you doing with your 350, Bishop? What you doing?
Huh?
What you doing with your 350?
Oh, my 350? Shoot, boy, that shit is going like what? Like 350 for real? $50,000 of that joint is going straight to investments. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about real life investments. You know what I'm saying? Like pork bellies. You know what I'm saying? I don't know what it is.
Orange juice. Pork bellies.
I'm gonna get you. I'm gonna open up 3 funeral homes. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing something with my money. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing shit that all passive income, baby. Passive income. I'm open up a hospital and a funeral home right next to each other. You know what I'm saying?
Buy you a little crypto. Get in that cryptocurrency.
You know what I'm saying? Shoot. Again, you know what I'm saying? I'm in there. I'm getting a webcam situation. I'm gonna open up a new Pornhub and all that stuff. It's going down.
Oh God.
It's going down. I'm gonna diversify. Diversify.
What you doing?
So what am I doing?
Yeah.
I don't know.
We
Man.
going to storefront church.
You know what, Bishop?
It used to be a Kroger's. It's going to be the church of P. It's going to still have slide doors and everything.
Oh shit.
That's a good question, man. I'm honestly not sure. I got a lot of debt. You know, the house and all that stuff. As far as what I would invest in, I'm not sure.
Real quick.
Probably.
I'm your homeowner.
Left field. Hold on. Let me tell you. This is gonna sound left field coming from me, but I probably would take some of that bread and get into the marijuana, the cannabis game.
Thank you.
There you go.
That's where I would go. I learned all that.
He's gonna go actually to Jamaica and get pounds and have them shipped over and pitch and be on the block with it. Hello, sir.
Like once you know marijuana gets legalized in North Carolina, for instance. I mean, dispensaries will be popping up everywhere. That's the game you want to be in. So like that's where I would take my money.
I be out here like Linux.
With me.
He gonna be like this. You want one marijuana, sir? Would you like one marijuana cigarette, sir?
Come on, huh? Come on. You don't want to rump with Bumba Cloud me. You want to rump with Bumba Cloud me.
What you doing, John?
Kazi, what you doing with your 350?
What's your 350?
Oh man, pay my student loans first and foremost.
That's the whole 350 right there, Kazi.
That ain't the whole 350. That's a good chunk though. That's a good 15, 20 though. You know what I mean?
Right.
But honestly, shit, bro. I wouldn't go hog wild with it. It's not a lot of money in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? I would just like put it up because I'm like, yo, somebody got to go to college.
Right.
Somebody got a bill to pay something. I mean, I would splurge on something for myself. Don't get me wrong. I'm a cop like a whip or something. You know what I mean? I'm gonna get myself one big nice thing, and then the rest of it,
okay,
I'm gonna try to put up. Or I open a. I would.
I'm a rock.
I would build. I would build like some. I don't know. I'd make like a nice vibe house or something. You know what I'm saying?
All right. I'm gonna get P9 some DJ lessons.
Oh. Well,
see, this is why you got. This is why you got to protect yourself at all times. This is why you got to protect yourself at all times.
All time. Right there.
Never watch for the hit. You never know.
Who you
catch you in a vulnerable moment and just.
Nah, you know, I'm gonna get on some Tech 12s, a new Mark mixer, and I'm gonna have like DJ Jazzy Jeff give him some real DJ.
Right, because DJ Jazzy Jeff would do that shit for 15,000. He'll do that shit for 15,000.
I mean, that's more so an investment. You know what I'm saying? I'm investing in Peanut. You know what I'm saying? Like,
you know what? I wouldn't even turn that down. I take that. Taking him over Jazzy. True.
You know, he gonna spend all his money on buying pre-rolled marijuana cigarettes, and he's going
cigarillos.
I would get some loud. I would buy some loud. You know what? Come back to me. I'm gonna tell you what I do with my 300,000. All right, that practical.
No, we about to go to.
Here we go.
For real, you have this
remix. Yeah, let's run it back. This is what I'm gonna do with my 300,000.
Mute your shit, y'all. Mute it.
I'm gonna get a zone of that loud. Gonna rent a private jet. Go watch LeBron and them courtside when they play the Clippers. You know what I mean? Wait till the Clippers and the Lakers play home game. You know what I mean? I'm gonna go check that out. On the way out there, I'm gonna order a pizza. You know, like one of them like $500 pizzas though, like pepper, like flown in from Italy. You know what I'm saying? You know, if y'all with me, you know what I'm saying? Whatever y'all want to eat and drink, you know what I'm saying? Shit, I probably didn't spend all the money by the time we got to LA.
Gotta have this Bentley. Yo, go ahead. Go ahead. Look, Bentley, Bishop. Yo, and yo, Bishop, go have me on this Bentley.
All right. We'll go to Vegas. We're gonna go to Vegas and get a suite at the Palms. Right. You know what I'm saying? We're gonna do it up. We just blow that whole 300,000. Let's just blow it in one night.
The whole day.
There you go.
No doubt. All right, like I said, I'm
gonna give me yo. Yeah. You know, I'm gonna go to
like bro. I would, cause I actually went to go look at some land a couple of weeks ago. I was looking at some land out in like Burlington. They got 30 acres for like $100-something grand, but you all the way out like Granville County, like you are this big Trump support out there. Like you know, you gotta drive 15 minutes to go to the gas station. So I don't know if I'm gonna do it, but you know, just for the sake of wanting, you know what I'm saying, some land.
Mm-hmm.
I'm contemplating it.
You
know, just had that.
I'm advocating black land ownership, black business ownership, black gun ownership, like I'm just saying, like if it was a scare to me. I felt in the last 3 months, I felt like I was in the demographic that was gonna die from some like crazy disease, virus that I could do nothing about. I felt like my president secretly dog whistled all of his MAGA boys to go load up their guns and come and get me. I felt that way. I felt that police and law enforcement can kill me and get away with it without impunity. It's a very interesting time to be alive. You know what I'm saying? And
what a time.
All those, you're right, facts. So like what do I have to do to govern myself that allows me to still walk around and be funny, jokey Kev without this chip on my shoulder or without feeling like America's trying to kill me? You know what I'm saying? Well, it's a real thing. It's a real stress. I'm just saying, you know, I manage mine the best as I can, and we all find, I think, our ways, you know, but it's a real stress.
Right here? I want to say this right here. You've been managing it since you were born, sir.
Facts.
You're a black man in America.
Facts.
You a black man in America. You've been managing. That's the reason why you can do it, because you were blessed enough to be born black in America as a man and be strong, and not because you done got through the ills and all that. You done already figured out how to navigate it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Now it's just what it is this right here. It's not underlying. It's outlying now. Now it's out here for the public to see. This stress that you're feeling right now, if you look at it, that's why I've been dealing with it. This is the same stress as a black male I've been dealing with all my life. For all 39 years of my life, I've had to deal with it. I had to deal with this stress on a certain level. Now it's just what it is. It's right here. Now they're reporting on it. We're seeing the stress. But guess what? We built for this shit. That's the reason why you're able to do it, because we are born built for this shit. As black folk, we got to realize during the middle passage, people died on those boats. So when the people that died on those boats died, their blood is not in our bloodstream. Only the strongest ones survived that boat ride. Then what they did when slavery came upon, they didn't breed weak slaves with weak slaves. You know what they did? They bred the strongest women with the strongest men, so they can have stronger. So we are from strength upon strength upon strength. It's in our DNA. It's in our DNA to deal with the bullshit. We had to deal with slavery. Hot hours in the joint, and still had to be with poor food, getting whipped. You know what I'm saying? Motherfucking Uncle Tom's and all that shit. We had to deal with all that shit and still smile. We are the happiest, the joyfulest people. It ain't no joy like black joy.
Hell no.
Like black joy. You know what I'm saying? No. No other joy on this earth that look like us.
Oh, hell no.
You know what I'm saying?
The sound, I'm going to say, Bishop, the sound of R&B, the sound of soul, the sound of popular music that everybody does. Ariana Grande, Taylor Swift, Lady Gaga. It is the Southern black gospel tradition. That tone only comes from one place of origin, black people's pain.
Yep.
That is the only place that sound comes from. It comes from black people's years of overcoming the odds, oppression, all of that. That tone comes from the middle passage, the being in the field, the struggle is where the continually seeing your people die and having to bury them. Right, without justice. That's where that tone comes from. And it becomes mainstream because, that's why the best singers in our community come from the church, because they in tune with that part of them spiritually. Soul music. Soul. From the soul, literally from the inside of our shit. You know what I'm saying? And that is the tradition that everybody sings with. Rock and roll is our tradition. Rap is our tradition. Reggae is our tradition. You see what I'm getting at?
Yep.
And
we built for this shit. We built for it, bro. We built for this shit. It's like this. It's like this. You could drop a nuclear bomb on this country, and 7 black people gonna survive that motherfucker. We're gonna be all right. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be like, you know what I'm saying? It's at the end of the day, because you know what it is.
More than 7.
It's gonna be intelligently Ratchet and 3 other niggas. It's gonna be crazy. But at the end of the day, we built for it. You know what I'm saying? Right. It's like this because people when you look at how did they come out of such dire straits to be this man? Kind of on the LeBron James story. Everybody got a story. And you know what it is? And some people bless it, got out of that story earlier than others, right? And because I don't want to sit there and act like all black people poor, but you know what I'm saying? Some of our ancestors and stuff got us out of the place. Others didn't get it late. And some of us had to deal with the struggle, and you know what I'm saying, and family issues and all that, and family curses and all that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and to that point, because I'm in the middle of trying to break one right now. You know what I'm saying? And just as far as generational wealth, because my father wasn't able to leave me,
Right.
you know what I'm saying? What I would hope to leave my son. But
Right.
make no mistake, he created more opportunity in my life than I could ever ask for, right? So that's the thing, right? When you're talking about that generational wealth, like I'm striving to be the man over the fireplace for my family. I want him to be, great, great, great granddaddy Kaz was the one that set us straight.
Right.
Right. And so you're talking about what it takes to do that is overcoming, man. It's overcoming a lot of shit, bro. It's not easy because the rules of everything that we need to know, like you said, it's not passed down to us the way it's passed down
to our counterparts. Right.
Yeah, right. It's not passed down in the same way. So not only are we having to educate ourselves, we're having to overcome the obstacles while we educate ourselves and survive,
and then educate everybody else. I mean, I'm big on I've been big on stocks and investment and everything, and I'm still learning as I go. But I'm still trying to teach my boys the same thing, because I got accounts in their portfolios for each one. And that's probably where if I was to get that 350, I'm just going other than the land, I'm just dumping in their accounts and what I'm saying, had them better for the future. At least then they get paid off some dividends and what I'm saying.
Right.
And that could all build up, so when they 25, they can withdraw it and just be straight.
Right.
They got an upper hand, but still learning about it and then still trying to incorporate like, all right, son, this is an index fund and this is a stock portfolio. This is this and third. This is where your money going. So this is what you need to be doing, in a couple years. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right, look, I'm going to put you on my credit card. So you're an authorized user. So when you are 18, you know what I'm saying? You already got a decent credit score. You know what I'm saying? Like trying to put him up in those kind of ways. But we're so far behind that curve that, we don't have those steps for that generational wealth. And I'm trying to change that curse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, right on. And I saw somebody compare it to a 400-year head start if we were in a race.
Yep.
Or Monopoly. I saw that the Monopoly joint. Yeah, I saw that.
And the cool thing about the Monopoly reference that I heard, it was like this. It was like you had a 350-year head start, right? 300, and that's how they broke it. 350 years, right? And then you said, okay, now it's time to catch up. So then, even though you took that part, then you gave us that 50 years, and then we built things like Black Wall Street, and we built things like, what I mean? Because first you said, okay, you can start making money. Now every time you make money, you got to give it to me. So for every $3 you make, you got to give me $2 out of every $3. That's your Jim Crow right there. Boom. So we got to play this for another 50 years. Then we start building wealth. We figure it out. We say, hey, all right, we're going to do it this way. Then we get Black Wall Street and we get Tulsa, Oklahoma. You get mad and then you burn all our goddamn money up. And then wonder why we out here in the place that we're at. We never had, you know what I'm saying, when you said pull up your bootstraps. You never gave us the boots. So then when you make our own boots, you come down and burn down our boot factory. We ain't got no more straps to make. This is what I'm saying. But still, at this point in time, we still are some of the most smiling, the strongest, forgiving people. Because guess what? Because at the end of the day, when you know you're not wrong, it's like this. It's like, you know what I'm saying? Because we all got baby mamas. When you know you're not wrong, you sleep a lot better. You wake up a little happier. It don't matter how you try to villainize me, because guess what? I know the truth.
America want to emasculate the greats, murder Malcolm, give Muhammad the shakes. It's hard to state the legacy of Bill Cosby, Michael Jackson, any of the greats that's African American. It's like before. It's like we'll dig up Michael Jackson to shit on him.
Yeah. There's always an asterisk beside a name.
We will dig Martin Luther King up and say that he had hoes to shit on his legacy. It's if we allow it. If we allow it. Only if we allow it. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying it's literally, can you be great? It's like Halle Berry was like, I'm moving to England. I'm moving to France because like I just don't want to be a part of this, you know. And I get it to a degree because it's like
this, and it's at the end of the and at the end of the place, it's just like this. What we're asking for is this right here. Like we want to. It's like this. I want to be able to have the opportunity to have fucked up heroes just like everybody else got fucked up heroes.
Long as it ain't Jeffrey Epstein, you good.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm saying, but again,
you watch the Epstein thing?
Have you watched the Epstein?
I watched it. That shit hurt my stomach, bro. I had to get up off of it. I made it through like episode 3, and then my stomach started hurting, dog. No bullshit.
Ball straight slime ball.
Slime ball.
The scum of the earth.
The Bruce Lee 30 for 30.
I watched it.
I haven't.
To be water.
How was that?
You gotta check that out.
And I'm talking about somebody that suffered from racism.
Yeah.
Yo, that man got held back his whole career.
And was still a GOAT.
And still made GOAT moves. Made GOAT, but they held that motherfucker back his whole career.
Yeah, I mean, the dude was like a child. I didn't realize dude was like a child star, like a child actor then. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like,
yeah. Him being Chinese, they didn't want no Chinese movie star, bro.
Yeah.
Kung Fu was supposed to be his shit.
Right. Yeah, I know. And they gave it to David Carradine.
David Carradine.
R.I.P. David Carradine.
Yeah. And I used to love Kung Fu. I don't know if y'all used to watch that. That was my jam when I was little.
Nah, he just was too slow for me, man.
All right. Who, David Carradine?
He just I mean,
I used to love like Kung Fu and Incredible Hulk, like was my jams back then.
I ain't like Incredible Hulk because I was like he too small for the comic books.
Lou Ferrigno was huge, bro.
No, what I'm saying, like, what I'm saying is like this. When I'm into my pop, that's his favorite superhero. Yeah. So again, he already set me up for it. It's like this. Like Lou Ferrigno ain't fucking with real. Like, you know what I'm saying? Let's talk about
the scale. Like real Hulk would have been like, I got you.
Right. Let's fuck the scale.
Right.
You know, Arnold Schwarzenegger should have been the Hulk. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Basically, you want size to a person.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Right. That's what I'm saying. You like the dude would have had to been like right now. Who's the cat that just did the weightlifting, the deadlift joint, the mountain?
Mm-hmm.
Like that's a comparison. Like it would have been like Kevin Hart would be Bruce Banner, and you bring the mountain in. You know what I'm saying? That's the type of size change you need. You know what I mean? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like Phenomenal versus Justin.
Yeah. I just want to, I think I had a couple takeaways. First of all, if I know a lot of y'all probably like me, if you came up, you had this part of your youth where you was fascinated with the karate movies.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I there was a big part of my, childhood or early part of my life where I was fascinated with the Kung Fu and karate movies. I'd watch USA Network every Saturday and watch whatever Kung Fu and karate movies was on. So that's why I connected immediately with when Wu-Tang came out, because I was just like them watching all them karate flicks, right? And Bruce Lee was that dude. Like, you had your like offshoot, kind of like bootleg Chinese movies, and I love those. Don't get me wrong. But if it was a Bruce Lee Enter the Dragon, Fist of Fury, Game of Death, any of them joints, it's like, okay, we about to see some legendary ass kicking right here. And what spoke to me was like the fact that he didn't quit. If any time in his story does he give up or quit, he doesn't make it to the best part of his career, which was at the end. And his independence and his autonomy. And it spoke to me, right? He was asking Hollywood to validate what was already there. Right. And once he realized that, he went back to China and started doing his own movies. Then what happened? Hollywood came calling.
Right.
And that was a message that spoke to me about independence. You go to where you from and you represent the authentic and you do that shit, Hollywood's going to come for you. The record industry is going to come. They have no choice because it's just so raw and it's too real. They got to come get it.
Right. Especially if it's good. Especially if you're whooping ass.
Right. And he was. That's what. And here's another a takeaway from it. Other than his philosophy, I want to grab a couple of his books, at least one of them, because his philosophy is super dope. But notice how Hollywood, every movie star in Hollywood wanted to learn from him. Mm-hmm. But it wasn't as many people giving them roles and parts. Mm-hmm. Right. But everybody want to whoop ass like Bruce Lee. Everybody want to talk like, do that like him. Mm-hmm. But don't want to give them the role, right? And it's that part of like black culture that I feel like has been being absorbed like that for a long time. I think that's our number one thing that's been exploited and exported from us is the way that we dance, walk, talk, the way we wear our hats.
And the fact that we so willing to teach. You know what I'm saying? Cool. We so willing to give. You know what I'm saying? We so willing to open up the libraries of Timbuktu. You know what I'm saying? We so willing to bring in the Europeans and say, yo, come here. Let us teach you math and things of that nature. You know what I'm saying? Let us show you our art and shit like that. Because guess what? That's what we are, the base of knowledge. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna get on my super woke black, you know what I'm saying, Wokemon shit. But at the end of the day, it just goes to show you that we are a powerful people. You know what I'm saying? It's like this because I don't think anybody else can hold up against the shit that we hold up against and still be able to be as successful as we can and strive to be better, man. And
facts. And in my opinion, to speaking to what you're speaking on, the reaction that you're seeing around the world to Black Lives Matter, I think is more about our influence, the influence of black culture on the world.
Right.
Than it is about the outrage. Mm-hmm. Than it is necessarily speaking to our condition. I think it is more the influence that every black celebrity, every black rapper, every black entertainer that these kids look up to and follow, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Are seeing the people that they look up to, like, basically tell them the relevance of this moment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And the culture is so influential that they follow in suit. Mm-hmm. They might do the research to gain the understanding later, or they have their own experiences because, it's black men worldwide, right? Every country got their caste system or their own light skin, dark skin shit going on.
Uh-huh.
You know what I'm saying? But the condition of which I think a lot of these kids are familiar with is what they see from our culture.
Right.
That they see LeBron saying, I can't breathe.
Mm-hmm.
That they see, Kendrick marching.
Right.
That they see Michael B. Jordan and Jamie Foxx out there.
Yo, I gotta listen to Kendrick's "To Pimp a Butterfly." Like, it has so much more impact and feeling and emotion now in this time right now than it did. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Well, I said that same shit. When I heard "To Pimp a Butterfly," I was like, "Oh man, this man is on some revolution shit." I loved it. Right. I was like, and my man said, "Yo, ain't no club beats on it." Like, yeah, Nick. Yeah, it wasn't supposed to be. This right here was an adventure of art. B. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. I mean, look at the album cover. I mean, the cover alone is like literally out of like last week.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
You could have shot that album cover last week at like 11:30 at night.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
While Bunker Boy, while homie was in his bunker. You hear that? He was like, "Well, then, I didn't actually go into the bunker. I went to inspect the bunker, and went to see if everything was fine in the bunker. And yes, the bunker door is very, very great." Yeah. Very, very nice to maintain by nice people.
So on that tip, I got a question for y'all and everybody out there watching, because what we speaking on is something real. There's this like a whole cultural awakening. Does that cultural awakening transition? Does it translate itself into our culture and our music? Do you want to hear less bullshit now? Is what I'm saying. Hardest album cover ever. I'm sorry.
I believe
hardest album cover of all time. Yeah. I'm sorry. Hardest album cover of all time.
No doubt. To answer your question, I would say art imitates life. So I think there's definitely going to be, the reflection and the energy is going to reflect in the music.
Like, do we go back to calling each other bitches and hoes and trapping and shooting? Like, are we going back to that as soon as we go back outside? Is what I'm saying.
Is that a part of our culture?
It was before quarantine.
Yo. So I'm saying it's like this.
You know what?
Like you just said.
Because I don't want to hear Future talking revolution.
Facts.
Right.
You know what I'm
like Cosby, you did just say me just caught you. You said black sluts. You know what I'm saying? Black sluts need to be
what?
When you try to say black celebrities, you slipped up and said black sluts. It was hilarious. That's why me and Justin laughing.
I heard it, I was trying to ignore it. I was like, I'm chuckling.
I said black celebrities. Okay.
So you think black slut?
I mean, excuse me.
If I did, I misspoke. I didn't know.
No, but black sluts got power too. Because we need our black celebrities, we need our black sluts, we need all. You know what I'm saying? We need every. Don't yo. I'm saying, like, listen. What I'm saying is right here. Listen, that we have to have there's power in numbers, there's power in equality. We treat everybody the same. But at the end of the day, man, it's like I think we need the escapism. We need the escapism. You know what I'm saying? It's like this. Like that's kind of like, you know, our music is just like action movies. Like we don't all look at documentaries all the time. Right. You know what I'm saying? So our music entertainment, because people, I never understood this. Like people in music automatically take music to another level. Like, oh shit, yo, Jadakiss just shot 40 people on his record. Okay, you know what I look at Jadakiss as? I look at Jadakiss as Arnold Schwarzenegger, and you know what I'm saying, in Commando. Of course, he needs to shoot everybody because it's hyper violence. It's not actually, you know what I mean, glorifying the violence. It's the entertainment factor of it. And to a person that's smart enough to understand it, this is entertainment. So yes, I do need Future, and I need Future to do copious amounts of drugs. I need him to tell me to for me to do copious amount of drugs, and I want to pretend to do copious amount of drugs while I'm smoking my little J. Oh yeah, I'm on lean with Future. You know what I'm saying? But I also still want the avenue for the Pimp a Butterfly. When I want that revolutionary shit. You know what I'm saying? I also want my Redman that goes into ramblings and comedy.
I love Redman, man. Redman is one of the most underrated rapper to me.
Right, and super crazy ideas and everything like that. But you know what I'm saying? We also we like kind of like Candy said, you want to look at Shotters and Roots. We have the capacity to take in both.
So what you're saying in a nutshell is that you need more balance as far as music is concerned. We want to hear both equally, which was the issue before. It was more on one side than on the other. So now, moving forward, post quarantine, post riots, post everything, more balance. equal portions of both and revolutionary things.
In the famous words of Nori, level spelled backwards is level.
Level.
Yep. That's
level spelled backwards is level.
That's
all right. Look, it's 11.
I get it.
Yo, we've been on this joint for almost 3 hours. We need to go ahead and wrap it up. I hear Nat in my mind like, yo, wrap it up. Like, you know,
she done logged off and went to bed on us.
I know what I'm saying. Like in my mind, I'm like, I know she like, yo, wrap this shit up, B.
Facts. Well, yeah, y'all know what it is. You know,
y'all know what it is.
We do.
See y'all next week. Yo,
any final words?
Not at this moment, I don't, other than everybody be safe and just gonna continue to keep an eye on this movement. You know what I mean? It's just an interesting time to be alive. Things are changing every day. You know, so we're just gonna keep pressing forward, and I appreciate everybody checking in with me on the book that's been reading what I've been posting, and everybody continue to do their part because everybody's got a role to play in this shit. Every single person.
You need to bring back Freestyle Friday for the people.
Yeah, I might do that. We'll see what's up. Cats wasn't pulling up, and I got tired of wasting my fucking time on Friday. Yeah. So, you know, if Cats wasn't gonna pull up,
what you know? So you didn't.
Your time was valuable. You were pulling up. It was just me and you, and if that's what we're gonna do, then we can just FaceTime each other. We don't gotta You see what I'm saying?
Show the world.
Yeah, wasting my damn time like it ain't valuable. Not you, but other people.
Right.
Like, oh, if it's not a big fucking deal that I can rap for Kaz, then Kaz will go do something fucking else. I just refer to myself in third person, but you know what I'm saying?
P9, the Chick-fil-A of all DJs, man. You got any final words for tonight?
It's my pleasure to be on Intelligent Ratchet.
Nah, man, just stay safe. We'll see you guys again here on Wednesday nights. And as far as my warm-up show for Intelligently Ratchet, we'll be moving over to Twitch, just so y'all know, because I'm tired of Instagram kicking me off. This is happening.
Okay.
So we're gonna move that over.
Just use this and go over, or you want to use your own platform? Got you.
I could use it. Yeah, I tried to use it the first time. You ain't let me. We talk about that behind the scenes. Behind the scenes.
Yeah.
But yeah, man. Be safe, and we'll see you guys next week. DJ P Nominal.
No doubt. I guess my final words are two things: that America is so racist that when you protest racism, they think you're protesting America. And lastly, men should not wear toe-thong chicletas.
I object to that. If you are on a U.S. Virgin Island, it is acceptable.
Slides all day.
Slides all day.
Or just be in the same.
Right here, you know what I'm saying? Nat brought you some good old leather chicletas, little, you know what I'm saying? You can't wait to wear it.
No. But if my ass was in Turks and Caicos, I had them motherfuckers on with some white linen pants blowing in the wind. You damn Skippy. If I'm in St. Thomas, St. Croix.
Oh yeah, it's a vibe.
You know what I'm saying? That's all. It's appropriate.
Not a toe thong, just wear some slides, bro.
I'm in Durham. Oh, it's some Nike socks and some slides.
Oh God.
Yeah. I'm in a white sand beach somewhere. Yeah, I'm gonna throw the cletas on. I'm gonna throw the cletas. I'm gonna throw on them cletas.
Piece of dry. Get a pedicure too. That's what most men need to do. Make sure y'all take care of y'all feet, man. You know, so we out here with the athlete's foot trying to put on the cletas, motherfucker.
You gotta
toenails, nigga. You know what I'm saying?
And then don't do it when your big toe look like this.
Right.
That's why men listen. All men. I don't care what color, nationality, religion. If you're gonna step out there, you know it may be a good idea. And I'm talking to myself. Get a little petty. Get a little petty, bruh. I know it sounds like some feminine shit for a man to get a pedicure, but the older we get, it's time that we start acting with some maturity. Yeah. No women in the comments, let me know. Do you want any of these clod hopping dog hollerers put on you, unmanicured? You know what I'm saying? You don't.
Nope.
So if you feel like me, I'm one of them niggas always got to wear water shoes at the beach, right? And I'm tired of that. I want to show my feet this year. So I'm going to dedicate to doing better.
Yo, what's
it? Like spreading the big toe.
Yeah, you got to. I mean,
what the fuck you popping?
You know, some of us are, you know, if you had a long athletic career, your feet may look a little tails from the crippish a little bit.
You wear Air Maxes all year, you know what I'm saying? Like,
foot trauma. You got black, you know. Most brothers I know got a black toenail or two, you know. So
I don't.
You don't. Well, you're lucky. You're in a very small percentile because most brothers I know got a dark nail somewhere.
That's because he ain't go to clubs. Ain't nobody stepped on his feet. That's right.
It's what it is. See, that's the beautiful thing about having like people that, because I wear size 9, so y'all in the 12s and stuff like that.
A little beefy.
Yeah, I got dainty feet. So
he got I'm able to move. I got these little hands. Like I got these little feet.
Hey guys, hold on, guys. I gotta interrupt you real quick. Somebody leaked a picture of Kazi's feet. Just threw it in the chat, man. It's terrible.
Let me see. Oh, that ain't my foot. That's not my foot.
Yo, I can't see it. It's having trouble on my end. I can't see it.
That's not my foot because the big toe is too big. Number one.
That LeBron foot, like
no, I'm gonna tell you that foot. That is. No, you know foot. That's Shaq's foot.
It is.
That's what I was about to say. That is Shaq's foot. Because he pulled that shit out on Inside the NBA one night, and
then they got LeBron joint. LeBron joint was crazy too. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If you balled, you were not excluded either. You got any final words?
Who, me?
Yeah, you.
I thought, my final words is this right here, man. When it comes out, man, support live comedy, man. Support live comedy. Support, you know what I mean, real comedians. Forget these Facebook and you know what I'm saying, not paying the comedians that don't put in the work. You know what I'm saying? They're just internet famous. I would say there's a place for that, but not for stand-up comedy. And that's what that's all I gotta say. You know what I'm saying? And yeah. It's your boy, man. Black Lives Matter. Learn how to
right. All day, every day.
One more word. And ladies, learn how to play video games, man. You know what I'm saying?
It helps.
Right.
It helps.
Still on that one.
All right, y'all.
Peace out.
Bishop
Ozzy, P9, King Just. This is Intelligently Ratchet. We all at y'all. Thank y'all for tuning in. See y'all next week.
Pray for Kazi feet. Pray for Kazi feet.